Hello, everybody. It is another episode of Arun and Patricia. My name is Aaron.
My name is Patricia.
And you join us on the 18th of October of 2021 and a day later than normally. So, first of all, I think maybe it's funny, like we were talking about filling up one of our gaps. Maybe the first thing we should probably fill up is the apology. Maybe is that apologies that we didn't have. Mind you, can't blame us really. We've had like a packed week of Hey Arnold madness pretty much for the last couple of days or so. So I guess you can't really blame us for kind of we're not being able to do Aaron and Patricia and on the regular basis, because after we did that, I think we were flat out and we just needed some time away from doing all that stuff. So we were at public events around where we were here in the UK and also in the US, and so apologies everybody who didn't get an episode of Aaron and Patricia on time pretty much for the last 2 weeks, so including this one. So but we're busy people, so that's basically where we end up. So anyway, we do have a show for you today. We are going to be talking about more Hey Arnold coming up on this. We're going to talk about some Owl House news, some Lego set ideas that were rejected. I'm going to tell you about those as well. There's a trailer out for the Loud House Christmas special. Also, Cartoon Network has an upcoming game show. We'll tell you about that too. So a bit of a skettoony madness possibly. We'll see. Former DC CEO Bob Iger warns Disney executives and current CEO about not to let data influence creative decisions. And I'm pretty sure we spoke about that last week, didn't we? So
I think we did.
Well, we'll talk about it again. Also, actor impersonating Warren Williams has people demanding a star in the biopic. We'll tell you about that too. Ruthie Thompson's Disney's oldest animator has passed away at the age of 111. We'll tell you about her legacy in the industry. We're going to have some Legend of the Hidden Temple news. We're going to talk about How You Train Your Dragon is also going to be having another series, and we're going to tell you all about that too. And also, Xbox Series X has a fun little peripheral. We'll tell you about that too. And finally, you are listening to Aaron and Patricia on the 18th of October of 2021. So before we begin all our festivities, Patricia, do you want to tell everybody what's going on the Old School Lane podcast?
Yes. So I just posted up a new episode of Casual Chats where I interviewed actor Avi Roque, who you may know them for their voiceover roles in audiobooks. And they are the voice of Rain Whispers in The Owl House. And the reason why I had them over was because it was the end of Hispanic Heritage Month. And I wanted to do something really, really special to kind of close things off. So if you were interested, then please check it out on Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, or any of my other podcast, websites, or you can just watch it on YouTube, which I'm kind of sad to report that it's not doing very well YouTube wise. It currently, as of the recording of this podcast, has about 50 views, which is usually like double the amount I would get normally. So I was kind of disappointed, but still, nonetheless, I am very proud of the interview that Avi and I did together, and I would highly recommend that you please check it out.
Yeah, and for those of you wondering about the fact that you can actually see us for once, is like we decided to change things up a little bit, and now we're starting to use Zoom. So yeah, and Patricia looks a bit like she's a bit shocked there, really. But hey babe, you're in a way better state than I am right now. Like, why in the studio do I have a copy of Brain Training from Nintendo DS right now? This is
well, you know what I mean. There's nothing wrong with training your brain. I mean, after all, statistics say that as every year
the game's not even in it. So how am I supposed to train my brain? Like, yeah, I know
well,
where it is. It's probably in the I've got a Nintendo DS bag, so it's probably in there with all the rest of the games. So
yeah, and I'm still like, even though that my wall is blank, I'm still surrounded by like all of my Hey Arnold stuff. So I have my.
Well, no, you got that poster in the background.
Oh yeah, that's right. I do. The Orange Years poster. Yes, it's right back there now. And everything else that you see, like my Wienerville poster, my animation stuff, my pictures, they're all in the front of me now. So whenever I do like videos, then you will see that, as opposed to like seeing the wall, which is just nothing except my posters. But yeah, I still have the Arnold vinyl record. I still have the Not Just Cartoons Nicktoons book. I have my Hey Arnold DVDs and all of my other stuff. So yeah, it's right in front of me.
Also, I have Star Fox Command. as well.
Very nice.
By the way, actually, there's a story behind this. I actually got this before everybody else did because this is actually a rare species because this is one of the very last games that I got from lake-sang.com. Do you remember that website? Where you can import Japanese
God.
stuff. Yeah.
I remember. Yeah. This was back around my college years where I would purchase these Japanese imported video games and the peripherals that you had to download them so that you can be able to have your American consoles play Japanese games. Oh my God, that takes me back.
This is a Lake-sang relic. We're right here.
Nice.
Starbucks command. Yeah.
Nice.
And, plays in my Nintendo DS as well. It's regionalist. So
yeah, that's right. That's one of the good things about Nintendo is that some of their games are region free, so that you can be able to play it on any consoles, which is awesome.
And also for the Animator show, well, we're trying to reopen the studio. So right here is like, so sorry, there's a lot of junk on the desk and everything like that. Most of it, like I don't know why. I have a stapler for some reason still in the box, fresh in the box stapler. So yeah, I still got lots of stuff around here which I need to clean up. So I'll get there eventually. So, yeah. I should tell you.
Yeah,
I'm getting kind of paranoid now. Like, what have I actually got on here? Like, this is the I'm still keeping this fresh for when we go on our first date together. Like you're here in the UK because this is the shaving kit that you got me for.
That's right. I remember. Yeah, I got you that.
Yeah. And so what else have I got on here? Oh, I've got a selfie stick as well. So most of the stuff on here is like, so this is like my outdoor stuff I used to do when I was doing, I used to do the shows outdoors. And
yes, I
go to Comic Cons. And so I basically have a lot of gear for like doing all that. So all of that is on here right now. And this is the, when I go to America and I go visit my beautiful sweetheart, who's right above me, this is the adapter that I have for going to all the places I need to go. So
yeah. I guess I could, now that we're showing off stuff, I guess I could show off the stuff that I have right in front of me. So let's see, right in front of me is my my Sick Little Monkeys Unauthorized Ren and Stimpy book by Thad Komorowski, who I had on the Looney Tunes podcast a few years back.
Of course, it's got a cat litter tray on the front of it too. So.
Yes, it does actually. Yes,
of course.
And if you turn to the page right over here, Billy West autographed this for me.
Awesome.
And let's see, I got, if you remember my unboxing video from a while ago, my Exploring the Land of Ooh, the unauthorized Adventure Time book that Paul Thomas, aka Gunter Fan 1992, did. We did the Adventure Time podcast. We even did the Owl House podcast together with him. And he drew this for me, Peppermint Butler, which it was just kind of foreshadowing because the fourth and final Adventure Time Distant Land special was about Peppermint Butler, which is actually pretty cool.
That's awesome.
I got more Hey Arnold stuff. I got my Haters Gonna Hate Hey Arnold mug, which I put all of my pencils and pens and my scissors in here. If
I'm jealous of two things. I'm jealous of the mug, and I'm jealous of the fact that you have pens and pencils that are all in one place I can actually find. So my pens and pencils are all over the place. So.
Well, there's, now that, hopefully in the future that we can be able to, share each other's stuff. This will eventually be ours. So there you go.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. So I believe there was a podcast we were doing. I think.
That's
showing
right.
all the stuff out of the room.
That's right. We were doing a podcast together. I forgot. So yeah. Thank you for coming on by to Antiques Roadshow Nerdy Stuff Edition. So tune in next week for where we never do this again.
Yeah. The only thing I have to say, the last thing I have to say about the whole video thing is that I really got to change the lighting in this room because I'm as white as a sheet right now. So,
I'm the complete opposite. You can barely see me. In fact, I guess we'll now jump into this because the Hey Arnold 25th anniversary virtual reunion live stream, they were saying, Patricia, you're dark. We can't see you. So yeah, I need to work on lighting in this room. So yeah. that's definitely something I need to do.
I think probably people will definitely say is that the light coming out of the window, maybe out of there, is probably the reason why you're probably coming out as dark. So I think you're supposed to have the sun in front of you. I think that's the
and that's a shame because there is no window in front of me, so I can't do anything. I'm sorry.
Anyway, I think it's more interesting. I think it's more important that people hear us rather than see us. I think maybe video podcasting is overrated. Like maybe that's the reason why we're doing so. So
yeah.
Okay, so the aftermath of the Hey Arnold anniversary live stream. I thought, it was such a wonderful thing to do for everybody. I thought, like, I just, it was also the reaction from everybody, meeting each other for, like, if not for, since, for years. And also with, the pandemic that's been going on as well. It's, I thought it was a very special thing for everybody to kind of, like, meet up with each other and stuff. And, get a chance to, basically, shoot the shit on Hey Arnold, basically. And I'm really glad Craig was really happy with it. I think he was really cool with it too. And so that's one thing that was good. And also Justin Shankaro came back as well, which I think everyone got a really good kick out of. It's like, with his Harold impersonation. So
yes, and not to mention that this was a surprise for everybody when they saw this on the live stream. So we had a guest who came in a little bit late because they were at a meeting, and then when they finally arrived, we had Mr. Dan Povenmire appear, and people were like, "Wait a minute, Dr. Doofenshmirtz is in this?" And I'm like, "Well, yes. I mean, didn't you know that he actually worked in Hey Arnold as a storyboard artist and a director?" And people were just like shocked. It's like, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, I thought his input, I think, was probably the most interesting because, like we talked about, obviously writing the scripts, writing the characters, and there's also the music. Jim Lang is obviously a magician with music and things like that. And we've had so many perspectives, but the one perspective I think we lacked in all our Hey Arnold coverage has basically been the storyboarding because it's such a vital. I'm really glad that we did this live stream because I think the storyboarding was one thing I think that was vital that we kind of left out because with the storyboarding, I mean, he had such a mammoth task on his hands because, as we all know, Hey Arnold and pretty much Nicktoons in general are very, funny enough, animated shows. So
yes.
With a lot of action and things like that. So storyboarding must have been so vital in that whole process. And so it was great to have, Dan Povenmire's input in all of this. It was so riveting.
Absolutely. And storyboarders were very crucial into the presentation of the As Told by Ginger virtual reunion live stream because that's where a lot of our pictures came from. So discussing about how they were able to take the script and then turn it into storyboards and then do the final product because that's where they essentially came from. And he storyboarded some of the best episodes of the series, and he talked about how his unique sense of presentation was able to bring life into the show and was able to turn it in a way that was pretty unique into the storytelling. And I think that his insight was very important, and I'm glad that he was there telling his side of the story and also his side of directing when it came to like the What's Opera Arnold episode and various other things. And so I was really happy to have gotten a hold of Dan because his manager told me that she was going to try to get a hold of him, but he was really busy because he's doing his new show Hamster and Gretel, and so he's still doing stuff on Disney. And so then finally when I received a message saying Dan would love to do it, and I'm like, great, but he's going to show up a little late because he has a meeting, and I'm like, okay, well, we're going to be doing this for a few hours, no problem. And so then finally he came, and his insight was very important, and he was great. I really enjoyed him. I definitely want to have Dan over in another thing at some point.
Yeah, I just think that I mean, he's he's done more than just Hey Arnold. He's done so many other stuff as well. So like,
exactly.
I mean,
He did multiple things. I mean, you probably know that he also worked on Family Guy. I mean, if you remember the Shaboopy scene with Peter Griffin where he was dancing to that and the football, he did all of that, by the way. And also, everybody knows him for Rocko's Modern Life, Phineas and Ferb, especially Phineas and Ferb, because he and Jeff Swampy Marsh created it, and he's the voice of Dr. Doofenshmirtz, and so most people know him for that. But the fact that
what a name, Dr. Doofenshmirtz.
I know, it's a ridiculous name, Dr. Doofenshmirtz. What a name. And his persona is just so crazy and wacky and out there. It's just so hilarious, and he does a great job every time that he does his skits with Dr. Doofenshmirtz, whether he be singing or whether he be doing like crazy TikTok challenges. But yeah, he's hilarious.
Yeah, so not exactly a name you would announce at Madison Square Garden. It's like, is go making his way to the ring, Dr. Doofenshmirtz.
Yeah. Yeah, people will be more laughing than cheering because of the name. But no, I mean, Dan...
I don't know. I think Professor Poopy Pants, I think, is probably still a laughable name. I think You
Yes,
know,
it
if
is. It is
yeah.
very much so. Anyway, but yes, yeah, Dan was great. Craig was great as always. Joseph Purdy, giving off various insights on the makings of the stories, and Rachel Lippman was also great too. And Jim is always talking about the music, and Jonathan Greenberg was there talking about his contributions, which he did a lot as well. And as mentioned before, Justin Shankro, the voice of Harold. We sadly were not able to get a hold of Adam Wiley, the voice of Curly, and Danielle Judovitz, the voice of Big Patty, because they were off doing various things. Adam was filming something at the time, and so he wasn't able to join us. And Danielle was busy with the promotion of Back for Blood, which she is the voice of one of the main protagonists. So they were really busy with other things, but they were genuinely sorry that they couldn't make it, and they really, really wanted to. And a funny thing, I didn't even mention this, but the day after we posted up the live stream, Lane Torrens' manager got a hold of me saying, "I missed this. I'm so sorry. Hopefully next time you get to do another one, because Lane would love to." So yeah, I mean,
It was
at
amazing.
least we
The closest I've ever got to Lane Torren is probably like when I spoke to his mom by accident. I think that's
ah
yeah. So and by the way, no disrespect to Mrs. Torren. I had I accidentally kind of made friends with her on Facebook, and I was kind of like, it's kind of like a bit awkward being like being friends with like people's moms and things. So it's like, it's I just felt it was no disrespect to her. I'm sure she's a really lovely lady, but
sure.
it's I don't know how he would have responded to that basically.
Right,
So
right,
yeah,
right.
so yeah.
Yeah, I totally get that.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, the Q&A was great. And once again, I want to thank the people who shared their fan art and their 30-second videos. They really did appreciated that. I also want to give a thanks to Aaron to that amazing in memoriam video that you did and you put together. And yeah, just in general, we want to thank everybody who was able to join us on the live stream. 50 people showed up from all over the world, and they really, really loved it, and they were happy that we were able to celebrate Hey Arnold in a very special way.
And by the way, it's still being watched too, because I believe there's like 1,000, I think, I
15,
think
1,500 people.
1,500 people. Yeah, that's really
Yeah,
cool.
I mean
So
1,500 views. I'm sorry,
yeah.
but yeah, 1,500 views, which means that at least about over 1,000 people have at least watched it. So yeah, but no, I mean the ratings and the views are still climbing, which is fantastic. So yeah, I'm glad that you enjoyed it as much as we put it together.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it too. So thanks everybody for checking out the live stream, and we had a lot of fun doing it as well. And yeah, I think it's funny because Craig was saying that this was going to be like herding cats, and so I was really laughing when I said it. Hey Craig, so you got anything to say to the cats?
You know what? I responded to the email that he said, "Well, best of luck to you. It will be like herding cats." And I just said two words to him: challenge
Challenge
accepted.
accepted. Yeah.
Yes.
So, but yeah, I mean, this might not necessarily be the last Hey Arnold live stream that we might do. If something ever comes up, and there's an opportunity to have more people on from Hey Arnold, who knows, we might do some more stuff in the future. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
Like if season 6 ever gets greenlit, or if there's a Hey Arnold spin-off, or
yeah.
if something else Hey
Well,
Arnold related
Craig
comes
put a
out.
bit of Craig put a bit of cold water on that, unfortunately. But I think it's still possible that we could
It is
still end up
possible,
with that.
yes.
But I don't know. Given the way Rugrats is going right now, I wouldn't be too surprised if they just says, "Oh, let's just we want to reboot the show," and Craig will just get drunk for the right of that. But who knows where we'll be.
I don't know, but we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, I mean, Hey Arnold means a lot to Aaron and I in so many ways. One of which, as of a few days ago, we did the podcast together. So 5 years ago, I did the Hey Arnold 20th anniversary celebration, where I decided to just do various videos and podcasts about Hey Arnold. And this is actually how we first met. And this is, I just wanted to invite somebody very similar to how I invited, somebody who was a huge fan of As Told by Ginger, and she did like every episode reviewed on her blog. And so I was decided, let me just interview a Hey Arnold fan. And so, I thought it was just going to be a one-time thing, and that was it. But no, it turned out to just be us together for 5 years.
Yeah, and by the way, everybody, this woman in my life is the most beautiful woman, and I have no problem saying that in public. So Hey Arnold has given me such joy, and but little did I know how much joy it was going to give me.
Same
So
here. it brought me the most amazing man in the world that I don't know what I would do or what I would be. I don't know where I would be if it wasn't for him. So, I mean, I literally cannot thank Hey Arnold enough.
Gee, people think we're a couple or something. A couple of what?
A couple of geeks. I know we are
nerds. Yeah. So anyway, that Hey Arnold stuff. By the way, we're gonna keep going with this until basically we the wheels fall off. So we're Hey Arnold 26. That's coming up next year. So
yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah. Anyway, enough Hey Arnold for 1 year at least. We are going to be moving on to the Owl House. So, a rumor dropped from one of the streaming sites. I don't know if it was Hulu. I don't remember if it was something else. I'm sure someone in the comments is going to remind us. But one of the users who was logged into their account was just browsing through the shows on the on-demand service and found that the Owl House was listed, and it wasn't season 2A. It was season 2B, and the countdown on that release item that was on there on the screenshot, I completely forgot where it was, but I think we'll find it somewhere down the line. I don't know if it's actually been taken down or not, I'm not too sure, but the rumor going around right now is, and by the way, everybody, this is strictly just a rumor, that Hey Owl House season 2B may potentially drop on January 2022.
Yeah, that sounds about right, because usually, they want to be able to like space out and be able to finish up everything. I mean, we knew from last week, or no, 2 weeks ago, I'm sorry. 2 weeks ago when Dana Terra said that they're currently working on season 2B and season 3. So they are still working on it. And as you guys know, it takes about 9 months to a year to do at least one episode. So the fact that, January 2022 it kind of sounds just about right. So again, this is just speculation, it is just rumor, so take it with a grain of salt.
Exactly. So I mean, we just basically just say, hey, there's a rumor out there, this is what it says. I mean, take it with a pinch of salt. We don't know if that's going to be official news or not. I mean, the way we're going to officially find out is the way that Disney always tells us, and that's basically says, oh, hey, here's this trailer, and Dana Terrace then is allowed to basically make a a massive go of it. So
yeah, there you go.
That's how we usually find out about this stuff. And so by the way, we're also really respectful to the cast and crew of the Owl House. If we obviously Patricia got to interview the voice actor for for Rain Winters, and she didn't push them on when's it gonna come out, what's going on behind the scenes, stuff like that. We're allowing the Owl House, out of respect to them, because they've done such a phenomenal work with this show, to basically say, look, let it naturally occur, let Disney ride the hold the reins on this, and let Disney do what they want to do, and then Dana Terrace will then announce
yeah, I mean, for those who didn't listen to the interview that I did with Avi Roque, sorry, I didn't ask them, hey, when season 2B coming out, can you tell me about anything that's happening in the future, because they don't know. They have no clue.
Exactly, because and actually it even goes further than that. Do you remember when Static Cling was just like in purgatory, at that point, and we didn't know when it was going to come out, and then all of a sudden it was announced for Netflix, and even the creator of the show didn't even know what was going on.
Nope. Not and Jonan Vasquez, same thing. He had no clue what was going on. He was just as confused as Joe Murray was.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, the creators only know as much as they know, and Disney is basically a loss of their own when it comes to when they want to release stuff. So, by the way, actually, I believe that, the last way we left it, I think, with Dana, was that she said that season 2B was still somewhat in production alongside season 3.
Yes.
So likelihood is they're still putting, and
they're still making it.
By the way, that's interesting, actually, because, if they are, still making season 2B, how do we know, now that we know that season 3 is only going to be half as long as it should be? How do we know that some things aren't going to start getting crazy in the last season of season 2B? So
You know what? That's the thing. We don't know. And I know that, Dana was very disappointed and very heartbroken that she wasn't able to tell the full story that she wanted to. But she says that she's going to do her very best. And Luz Batista, the storyboard artist, and who Luz is named after, she also said the same thing, in which, like, she was, devastated about this as well. But she says, and I quote, "We're gonna do the best that we can. We're gonna make it into a kick-ass season. Stay tuned." So yeah, I mean, they are putting their all into this. And I know that we're not getting the full package that we wanted to, and we already talked about this 2 weeks ago on why it's not happening, so go listen to that. But the point is that as for when it's coming out, let's just continue to wait and not push into it. Let's let it take its time, and once it comes out, trust me, we'll be wanting to have that anticipation, because once it comes out, I mean, Dana even said it herself, as soon as 2B is over, season 3 is going to come out shortly afterwards, so we won't have to wait for very long.
Yeah.
So
here's the thing about this, like, it still boggles me why they would say, okay, well, we're just going to do 3 specials, and so, like, we're basically just going to do that. I mean, like, I would just say, why not just do 2 TV movies and just say, like, wrap it all up in, like, in 90 minutes, like in well, 90, about 180 minutes worth of like of show. Like, have like a big epic TV, 2 epic TV movies, like, have like a Lord of the Rings style kind of, like, finale for the Owl House. Like, it's pretty much deserving at this point, isn't it? Seeing how
absolutely,
seeing how
yeah.
epic the 22 minutes every episode is. So, like, I would be down for that if they just So, but mind you, here we are, 3 hours, I guess you could say, of Owl House, and 6 hours to go of Owl House left in total.
Yes.
I believe. So I mean, here's the thing. I mean, the argument going around about saving the. By the way, we are all in board on for Save the Owl House. At least at this present time. I mean, who knows where we're going to be by the end of season 3? I think
We don't know.
We don't know where we're going to be. But I mean, I don't know. Like, I think if they end the show in the best way possible, like, they tie up all the loose ends, they like answer all the questions. Like, to be honest with you, I mean, not every question needs to be answered. Like, we don't need to know what the Batqueen's favorite Pokemon card is for example. Like, we don't need to go into that kind of like depths of, like, character developments in my opinion. Like, just answer the questions that most fans would want answered, and then leave it at that, and then we'll make a decision of, like, saying, hey, do we continue on this quest, to this crusade to save the Owl House, if you will.
Yeah, it's kind of like Adventure Time, in which it answered a lot of questions with Adventure Time Distant Lands, but it was still open to interpretation on so many things. So, I mean, that's what keeps people going, is that if every question is answered, then it's like, well, that was good. That was a nice run. But if there's still just that one little itch in your head that you just want to scratch, but at the same time you're just like wondering about, like, we got to know about this, but then this was never answered, it gets people talking. And that's what keeps a longevity, for a good show, or for a good book, or for a movie, or anything.
Mm-hmm. So, so that's basically how much we know about 2B right now. Like, it's currently in production, and
Yep, that's all we know.
Yeah, and hopefully it's gonna have. Man, it'd be interesting to see how it ends up. Like, I mean, I tell you what though, like, if we get to 2B, and like the first thing that we see is that this might be upsetting for younger viewers, is like,
it's kind of like a True Colors in Amphibia, where it was like, this episode is not suitable for younger viewers. So yeah, we're gonna get a disclaimer in that first bit.
Yeah, so like,
and remember what Dana Terra said, that season 2A was the light part of the season,
and we haven't even had the beach episode yet. It's like, I'm pretty sure I've said that in the past. Like, we sort of had, like, the bit where we just settled all the characters down, and we just kind of like talk backstory and talk, character development and stuff like that. We've not had like we've not really had that yet. Like, we've sort of had that, like, well, no, knocking on Hoodie's door was, let's be honest, it was kind of like, 3 sketches, and like, then Hoodie losing his mind. I think that was pretty much what that was. But I think what we basically need is that we need to kind of like take everybody like on vacation for an episode, and just kind of like, have that type of episode, if you will. And and do some development from there. And because every show has it. Hey Arnold had it. Did Doug have a beach episode? I don't remember if he did or not.
A beach episode. No, not a beach episode per se, but there was a family trip.
Yeah, I mean, like, so I mean, I'm pretty sure Hey Arnold had Summer Love. Obviously, he
Yes,
had
they
that,
did.
and
Yes.
then you've had various other shows. I'm sure the Loud House has probably had its fair share of
Oh
like
yeah,
beach
absolutely,
episodes.
yeah.
Yeah, and also, by the way, everybody asking about the Loud House movie, we haven't seen it yet. Okay, like I've not got a Netflix account yet, so like just you can hold your horses on that one. Like we will get to it somewhere down the line,
Yeah,
but
soon.
soon. Yeah, like I say actually, well, coming up later on, like we'll have two movies to actually get through, like at some point. So like, well, stay tuned for that. But before we actually go into further into that, the Owl House is going to have it's a book, but they're saying it's a light novel now. So
Yeah.
like, even the books are getting cut for crying out loud. So like, the light novel that is supposed to be an original story for the Owl House, that's going to be delayed until June 2022.
Yeah, according to what Barnes and Noble said, where it was describing that it was going to have like around 300 to 400 pages, and ages 12 to 18 was going to be reading it, and it sounded pretty interesting. Like we don't, I mean, it's an original story that is not a, you remember like those books in the 90s in which it's like, oh, you have like those like recreations of like classic episodes of like a particular TV show, and you get to read the episodes but in book form. And I know that occasionally they would have like an original story, so it's kind of the latter if anything, but it's
I mean,
go
most of
ahead.
those books, like, I mean, the only ones I was ever in, I got a couple of the Hey Arnold chapter books. Like,
So did
like
I.
I managed to get some from like, like libraries that didn't want them anymore. So like, obviously when they, they refresh their stock with like the latest, the latest stuff. So I got, Arnold's E-Files, and I got, the Bermuda Triangle book, and also I got, Return of the Sewer King. Those were like original stories that weren't like Hey Arnold episodes. That potentially could be
Mhm.
episodes of season 6, if we ever get it. But I mean, those types of books I'm mostly interested in. I mean, yeah, of course, I've got like some of like the other ones that are based on episodes, but I don't really take to them as much because obviously I've already watched the episode and I don't really see any. Also, I kind of like brush through them. I didn't really see anything different from what I saw in the episode, and so that's the reason why I don't take to novel form of some of those books. I got I don't know why I got this, but I was at an airport one time and I was just really bored, and so I ended up picking up a book adaptation of Rugrats in Paris, which is like could you believe there's a Rugrats in Paris book form adaptation, which I just kind of like read and thought, well, this is just a movie, so what else is there to say?
Yeah.
So those types of books I'm not really into all that much. Like, for example, the Avatar book, about, what happened to, Zuko's mother, like, with the graphic novel that I appeared on that. Like,
Yeah,
everyone's
that's a
interested in that.
completely different story entirely,
Yeah,
because
exactly.
those are canonical stories from the creators themselves saying this is what happened between Avatar and Korra. So yes, those actually happened. Now, as for the Owl House, I'm hoping that will be the case. I have the Barnes and Noble website up right here of the description of what the book is going to be about. So I'm just going to read it off. Luz Noceda is a human teenager who finds herself accidentally transported to the fantasy world of the Boiling Isles instead of going to summer camp. There, she meets the powerful but irreverent witch Ida, the Owl Lady Clawthorn, and her adorably demonic roommate King. Determined to learn magic and fit in while she lives in this strange new world, one of Luz's only remaining ties to her old life is her treasure copy of one of the Good Witch Azura YA novels, and that's all we got. So yeah, 300 pages, and it's going to be coming out in June 2022, and the age range is going to be from ages 12 to 18.
Cool. So actually, that'd be interesting because we always talked about Azura and where they're going to be, what they're basically going to do with that character, and I mean, we kind of, I think when we did the last discussion, I think when we talked about like what possible episodes we have for season 2, and I said I think they have to address Azura. I think
Yeah.
there were some people saying, well, we don't really need to kind of like address that, but it would be interesting to see if if they decide to like have another go at the portal again, and then all of a sudden Azura just suddenly just appears, and it's like oh my goodness, like we finally get to meet the person that we've always read about. And then it's the way I would end it is kind of like I would have them like both saying, "Oh, it's so cool to kind of meet you," and then Azura's kind of like, "Oh no, it was cool actually to meet you," and it's kind of implied that Azura is actually like losing Amity's daughter from the future. So
Mm.
like yeah, that'd be an interesting twist.
Yeah,
But
there's a lot of theories about the good witches. Or I remember the old animatic where it was revealed that Camila was the good witch Azora.
that's not happening now. Yeah, I
I
think.
know it's not, but that would have
Yeah.
been awesome, by the
That would have
way.
been, yeah. I mean, even Morgan even agreed with us that that was going to be awesome. But I highly doubt it'll be that now. But
I know,
yeah,
but
unless it's kind of
still,
like one of those, like, remember Batman Beyond: Return of the Joker, like, unless he's kind of like repressed somewhere in like Camila's mind, and that she just suddenly just comes out. I don't know, but
yeah, it's kind of like a Kids Next Door Operation Zero, where it turned out that Nigel's dad was Agent Zero, the greatest, kid of of Kids Next Door of all time. The greatest kid secret agent who was fighting against father. So, yeah, I mean, maybe it's like somewhere in that repressed memory was like a different lifestyle that they had to put aside so that they can be able to take care of their family. It's like, yeah, I would have liked that. That would have been really cool.
yeah. I think there's actually a fan fiction mixing Owl House and KNA. I think Kids Next
I
Door
would
somewhere.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah,
There's like
using two by
there's a
four
lot of
technology to
collaboration.
build a portal for Luz to get home. Like that what I'd like to see.
Yeah, yes, you using 2x4 technology. We need to have number two help Luce build a portal so that they can be able to take down Emperor Bellos and Father and the delightful children from down the lane and the Emperor's Coven.
Yeah,
Yes.
but like I know I've said this so many times in other episodes, but if I had to have like a massive finale for like or just like I have a special episode for like it would involve all like the Disney animation animated television series all coming together Avengers style, and having
Yeah.
I think that would be a pretty epic thing to do.
I think that would be awesome, by the way.
Yeah.
Anyway, so one more thing that I want to point out, and I know some people are going to be mentioning this in the comments, but there was some rumors going around in like the McDonald's Happy Meal wiki saying that they were just putting out a list of like a whole bunch of possible toys that were going to be coming out in 2022, and apparently the Owl House was one of them, but then that post was taken down because it was a fake.
Yeah, I don't see. I mean, this could just be me, and this is just I base this on absolutely nothing. But I can't imagine Dana Terrace agreeing to having Happy Meal toys or Burger Kids Cup toys of the Owl House.
Yeah, I doubt it, especially since, sadly, which is unfortunate that, if Disney does not see, that the Owl House fits to their brand, I mean, why would they branch out into Happy Meal toys?
Well, they want to make money. I think that'll be one thing.
Uh,
McDonald's makes money, so like, and also they made money together in the past out of Happy Meals toys. So like, it's a cash cow. Literally, it's like it's a cow between two burger buns. Like we made it to meat. So yeah, it's a literal cash cow at McDonald's. But so I wouldn't be too surprised if they did do that. But I can't imagine Dana Terrace being too happy about it for some strange reason.
no. But what she was really happy about was the Hot Topic shirts, which we did talk about a while ago.
Exactly. Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah, that's stuff like that. I think Dana would be. I mean, this is just my opinion. Like, I don't base this on anything. I don't really know. I never interviewed Dana. I don't know her personally, but
Neither do
I could probably imagine like stuff like Hot Topic, stuff like what's going on at the Mystery Shack, stuff like where what's going on. Like, so it's just the really cool geeky stuff that you would find on the internet and you would basically have sent over to yourself. Like t-shirts, other things like that. Just like stuff that would like be you would see probably 20, 30 years from now on, whatever eBay is at that time, and like going for like a ton of money because it's like really rare and like no not everybody has it, like
Right.
that type of stuff I can see Dana really getting into. But in regards to like Happy Meal toys and like just the things like that, I couldn't imagine.
Yeah, I mean, even with the post that both Mae Whitman and Sarah Nicole Robles having these Lumity mugs, and then Dana Terrace was like, "I want that. Where can I get one?" And then everybody was like saying in the comments, "Whoever made that, give that to Dana." So I think Dana has gotten her fair share of like these really cool, stuff from the Mystery Shack. I think that the Hexside shirt and hat, I think she has the King plushie, and I think a couple of other things. I know that fans are so crazy of sending, all of these cool little gift packages over to like the voice actors. Like, I've seen Sissy Jones, the voice of Lilith. She receives like a lot of these things where she's received like a Bad Girls Coven customized with Lilith in it, and also there was this really nice one with like a whole bunch of glyphs and fan art, and there was these really really cool looking Owl House cookies that she evenly distributed to everybody. And then Sarah Nicole Robles posted on her Instagram saying, I can't wait, to eat my own face or something. Anyway, but yeah, as for those are cool stuff. As for like Happy Meal toys, I don't think so. So
I just can't see it. I don't know. I mean, if it does happen, then I'd be very surprised. But I mean,
yeah,
like,
I would be genuinely surprised too.
I
But
think it's going to be t-shirts. I think it's going to be books. I think it's going to be, stuff I think that the Owl House crowd, I think, will actually dig. And I mean, I just think the one thing I will say, and I can probably understand why, someone at Disney will say that it's not of the brand, is that, I mean, you look at like the Ghost of Molly McGee, you look at Amphibia, and you look at Gravity Falls, and you look at the other stuff, and you can definitely see there's like, oh, hey, there's a nod to like, the younger audience that Disney like to
sure.
court. Whereas the Owl House, you can definitely tell from its inception that it was a show kind of meant for like people like you and me. I think we can definitely say.
I can definitely see that. And yeah, I think that there was even somebody who posted on Twitter saying that they went over to, Disney World and, they were wearing a Owl House t-shirt and some of the cast members were actually like giving them high fives saying, we love the Owl House too. So, and they were like much older. I think they were like in their 20s or something. So yeah, even though that technically we know the Disney Channel definitely does lean more towards the 6 to 11 demographic, I think a show like the Owl House is definitely like leaning more towards like teenagers or young adults, which I think that it's the same thing with Infinity Train. That's the reason why it got canceled in the first place, is because Infinity Train was going in a direction that was clearly leaning more for like older teenagers and young adults. And Cartoon Network and Warner Brothers didn't know what to do because they wanted to focus on getting the younger crowd. And so that's one of the reasons why it got canceled. And,
Yeah.
there's
By
still
the
to this.
way, I mean, like the one I still believe that Disney is making a terrible mistake by not, maybe concentrating on people like you and me for cartoon shows, like animated shows.
Yeah.
Like because
Any animation company, any one of them.
yeah, but I'm just looking at something like I'm looking at Ranker at the minute, looking at some of the top cartoons of 2021. Invincible is number one
Yes,
for
Invincible, which is for the most part an older teenager slash young adult show about a superhero who goes through a lot of problems, and it goes in through a lot of discussions that are leaning more towards adult. So yeah, if it's the number one animated show on Ranker because of that, then yeah, that just goes to show you that this whole cartoons is for kids thing is just incredibly wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at, I was saying the top 10. Okay, it's kind of half and half. I mean, like, the other ones are like Johnny Test and like the other ones like, Kid Cosmic and things like that. But I mean, you look at other shows like,
Sure.
it's also, garnished with like Pacific Rim for crying out loud. And also, Marvel's What If. Like,
Hmm.
there's shows in there that I guarantee you, not only kids are watching, they are getting also, you look at reaction videos as well. Like, there's people who are generally interested in people like, the Ghost of Molly McGee, Amphibia, and like things like that. And I
Yes.
think Disney just making it, I think he's making a huge mistake. By, I mean, I mean, I can understand where they're coming from. They're probably just sitting there like, oh, we can do anything. People will like, subscribe to Disney Plus. Like, it is the go-to place at the moment because they got so much content over there. But I think
Yeah.
somewhere down the line, I think people are going to get bored, and I think if they don't court these group of people properly, I think you can easily see Amazon Prime or any other streaming platform saying, oh hey, we've got this adult animation that you really like, come over to us, we've got
Yeah,
something that
Netflix is a huge one. I mean, we discussed about this a while ago when we talked about that adult animation is booming right now. 50 like it was over like 100% increase from where it was back last year.
yeah.
So,
Also Crunchyroll's coming back as well.
yes.
Like that's coming back into
Crunchyroll has a lot of programs that are definitely leaning more towards adult animation, and and even HBO Max. I mean, I know that they canceled Infinity Train, which is a shame, but they are also leaning more towards, making animation and hiring people who have different types of diversity and representation who want to create their own shows. So yeah, it's out there. People want this.
Yeah, so like I think Disney Plus will lose ground. I think to and but I guarantee you they're probably gonna sit around and go, oh well, we got the families, so like they're gonna be watching no matter what. Whereas like I don't know, like I just get the feeling like the Disney magic I think can only go so far. I think if you only I think if you only like narrow yourself down to a certain amount of people, because I guarantee you once the kids all grow up from like being 11 plus, they're gonna want something different. And
Sure.
and if all those other streaming services are going to offer them something different, they're going to go to it.
Absolutely. I mean, and that's not to say that, kids who are older, that they don't go back to the shows that they grew up with as kids. I mean, they could do that for many reasons, whether it be through nostalgia or whether it be through, looking back to see if maybe there was a message or there was a character that they wanted to visit or something. That's perfectly fine. But, I'm one of those people, and maybe this will be an unpopular opinion. I was one of those people who was actually really happy that shows such as Adventure Time and Steven Universe changed direction, because they started off very fun and they started off very lighthearted. And some people were very turned off when they said, oh, it went into a more serious direction. It's not as fun as it used to be. Well, I argue that it's growing up with its audience because, kids are getting older and, they were still keeping the voice actors even past puberty, and they were like progressing as like time goes on. And so they are going to change and they are going to develop. So the story should develop. And so I think that when they see, the early runs of Adventure Time, where you have Finn and Jake going on their adventures, and then you see like the later seasons in which Marceline's discovering her backstory and, the 1,000 years of torment of her being a vampire. And then Finn's pretty screwed up backstory regarding about, his mom and the fact that she had to be able to turn her brain into a computer because her entire, city that she was living in was dying from a pandemic. And she was the only one who could rescue them. Like, holy crap, what do you do with that? So it's like, yeah, I mean, with Steven Universe, I mean, you go from a kid who is, really excited about like this ice cream cat to his mom, going into trial for his mom's problems. It's like, and then going into another season in which like he's going through severe depression and anxiety. So it's like, yeah, I mean, I'm just surprised that Disney is not saying, hey, our audience is growing up. Let's see if we can be able to, grow up with them. I mean, I think it'll benefit for them. And that's not to say that, lighthearted stuff shouldn't be around. I mean, I think, the creators of Molly McGee were like really disappointed when, kids and other people were asking questions about like, in season 2, is Molly McGee going to go into a dark direction? And he's like, no, because it's a fun show.
Well, I mean, we'll hold them to that because I mean, like, keep in mind, like, this is about a ghost that's cursed, and joined towards this, like, this teenager. So, like, who knows what directions we can go in.
I mean, for the most part, they want to stay in a more fun, lighthearted direction. And there's nothing wrong with that. They want to stay with, an episodic structure. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, everybody deserves to have a fun show to go back into and watching. But, then there's going to be some cases in which people are going to want to watch shows that are like, tackling new grounds and taking risks and all that kind of stuff. And
yeah. I think the one problem with that though with Molly McGee is that I think if it stays in too much of a linear direction, I think it will go stale. I think it will be in danger of doing that. I think unless they
a lot of people argue that Phineas and Ferb kind of did that in its later seasons, which it was supposed to be like a joke about like it relying on its formula. I think some people didn't get it, but I can kind of see where you're coming from.
Yeah, like I mean, it's the one thing eventually is that they say, okay, we've taken Molly McGee and Scratch to as far as it will go. Where do we go next? And the problem is that that was the question that the Fairly Odd Parents asked itself, and all of a sudden we ended up with Poof, and then we ended up with a dog, and then we ended up with Timmy Turner having no friends at all, except when he is eventually goes into the Jimmy Neutron world, and we have those Timmy Power Hours, and it just it went in not a great direction, I think, and I think if Molly McGee goes in that direction, I guarantee you, I think if maybe Disney will find it fun and want to keep it ongoing, but I think everyone will just start to say, no, this needs to end now. Like,
well, we'll see what happens, but yeah, I think that one more thing that we need to talk about right before we move on is that something that we didn't even know about until Jason Ritter, the voice of Dipper Pines from Gravity Falls, had posted up that both Alex Hirsch and Dana Terrace, and I think Matt Braley as well, they posted up artwork that was going up for auction to raise funds for finding a cure for Huntington's disease. So the Huntington's Disease Society of America. So they posted up original artwork, and whoever was the highest bidder was going to buy it, and all the proceeds was going to go into that organization. And so I saw Alex Hirsch's one, and it looks amazing. It's like a drawing of like journal number 3, and all of the characters coming together. It's like, what are you gonna wish for? And we have like Grunkle Stan, Zeus, Dipper, Mabel, Bill Cipher, Gideon, and all getting a hand of the journal. And Alex Hirsch doesn't do this very often, where he draws like original stuff, and he wanted to do it for a good cause. Dana did the same thing, in which she drew Luce, King, Hootie, and Ida together. And I think Matt did a very similar thing as well with his characters, and they were able to raise like over $7,000. So that's amazing.
Yeah, I think that's really cool, and that's the really great thing about this as well, because when you have a dedicated fan base, and when you have dedicated fans to your cause, I mean, they will follow you wherever you want them to go, and that includes charity work. And the only thing that benefits out of that is the charities themselves. So, like, they've got a great thing going, and I'm really happy about that. So,
absolutely, yes.
Yeah. Anyway, I think we should probably move on, because we've got well digged into this topic, and so let's talk about these Lego sets that were going to be were talked about, but then unfortunately were rejected. So tell you what, while I go get a drink, why don't you lead with this, and then I'll have my comments afterwards. So
okay, sure. So as you guys know, there is an opportunity for people to pitch ideas for possible Lego sets. And the possible Lego sets that we're going to be talking about today were for Zelda, Metroid, and Animal Crossing. And there was a lot of hopes that they were going to do it, because as you guys know, Zelda will be celebrating, well, I think it did celebrate already its 35th anniversary, and so did Metroid. And so we're already going to get with Breath of the Wild 2 for Zelda, Metroid has Metroid Dread, and Animal Crossing New Horizons is like taking over the world at this point. And so people were talking about, hey, let's see if we can be able to pitch this idea for Lego sets for all of these games. And unfortunately, they were rejected. And it looked really, really promising. Imagining like, you have Link and Zelda and Ganondorf, and, you have the whole, land of Hyrule to build and possibly explore. That would have been really cool. And, same thing with Metroid. You could have like a Samus with Ridley and Kraid and Crocomire, Mother Brain. You can put it into like maybe a room in like Zebes, or maybe you can put it in one of the space stations or something, just like have something together. Or for Animal Crossing, you can have like Isabella or Tom Nook or KK Slider, and you can be able to like have all these like little cute houses together. But unfortunately, we're not gonna get that. And I mean, as for like the reasons on why, I think that it might be possibly due to like a licensing issue, because these are Nintendo properties. But as for like really on the reason why, it hasn't been said. I have the article right here. You can check it out on cbr.com. And it says right here that Lego Ideas design manager Samuel Johnson and Lego model designer Laura Perrin discussed the various criteria the company's review board consider when deciding on submissions will make it to store shelves. The factors include products currently on sale, new products are in development, licensing possibilities, and many others. So the 57 ideas that they were pitched, only 2 of them got picked up, and that is The Office, as in the TV series The Office.
What?
And yes.
I didn't hear about that. The Office has been picked up as a Lego set.
Yes.
That sounds so boring. I'm sorry. That's just,
okay.
I can't believe it. Like, has Lego decided it doesn't want to do fun ideas anymore? Like, the company that gave us, the medieval, sword and, fighting dragons, and, that place, the wolf people as well. Like, the company that gave us all the space Lego as well. Like, me and my cousin Timothy had so much fun with space Lego back in the day.
Oh, yeah. The rocket ships and the planets and the astronauts.
Yeah. Like,
you remember when we went to Disney World and we saw the Lego store?
Yeah, like all the Star Wars Lego as well, like the big massive like Death Star that was built out of Lego. That was so
Oh, that was
cool.
so cool.
Exactly, like, but
Yes.
so apparently those are ideas that Lego are going to entertain, but not Zelda, Metroid, or Animal Crossing. I'm
No.
sorry, that's just so bad. Those were bad calls to make. I guarantee you, Zelda, Metroid, and Animal Crossing Lego sets would have flown off the shelves. They would be the must. They would be the must buy item for Christmas in 2021 if they were out this year.
Yeah.
Like they would.
Absolutely. Anyway, but the second one that was officially approved was Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs set, which I think it makes sense considering that as of 2 days
Disney?
ago,
Snow
yeah,
White
Disney,
Oh,
Disney,
okay then.
yes.
Well, yeah,
That
that
makes
makes
sense. Yes, but The Office,
I don't
huh?
understand The Office. That's
Yeah,
who's gonna buy that?
Office nerds.
I mean, like Friends, I would understand. Like like if they did a Lego set of Friends, that I
Okay.
would understand. Like big shows that just constantly keep playing on a loop. Like I don't know, maybe we can say Third Rock from the Sun. I don't know, like
I haven't seen Third Rock from the Sun in a while, but
yeah.
I mean, shows that are. I mean, if we're talking about like old sitcoms from the '90s, I mean, Fresh Prince is still playing on this on the
Oh,
on
that would be
televisions.
so much fun. Like, mind you,
Um,
I don't know how they would do Uncle Phil though. That's the only thing. Like,
well,
yeah.
anyway, but there's that. Full House is still playing. I know a lot of people hate Full House because they say it's so cheesy, but hey, it's still popular.
Mhm.
And let's see what else.
Urkel's supposed to be making a comeback, so
Oh
like,
yeah, Family Matters. Yes,
Family
that's
Man's
right.
really good,
Family
yeah.
Matters. Yeah.
So,
But yeah, as for like our Office, it's like that's a very interesting one.
hmm. I just don't
Anyway,
see it being. I don't know why. Like, I really want to see the. Bless you. I,
thank you.
I really do want to see the sales numbers for the Office playsets when they get announced, or like even if the point if even Lego or even too embarrassed to announce them. I don't know, but
I
I
don't
don't know.
know either.
I can't see the Office being a popular Lego set. Like,
Yeah. Now, now,
and you're talking to somebody who used to be a massive fan of Lego, by the
yeah.
way. So like, I'm not kidding around here. But I mean, like, but yeah, Zelda would have been a great Lego playset. It
Oh
really
my
would have been.
goodness. Yes. The dragons and,
Calamity
the
Ganon yeah,
moblins.
exactly. Like, just Zelda and just Link themselves. Like, and all the fun, like, yeah, I don't know that. And Animal Crossing would have been a great,
Oh my
Lego set.
goodness. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have like hundreds upon hundreds of neighbors that you can be able to craft and put together. All the houses, all the activities. Like you can do so much with it.
Yeah, mind you, then everyone will be demanding a Doomslayer like a Lego thing. So like, I think that'll be the next thing over that.
Yes.
But yeah, and there's no excuse for Metroid not to be picked up as a playset
Oh
when
my
Metroid Dread is
God.
doing so well at the moment.
My heart breaks. Oh
Yeah.
my God. Like the one time that I see people talking about Metroid again and people being so happy of, and then they're like, no, we're not doing a Lego set. It's like, why? No, come
They
on,
need to look
Lego.
at the Metroid Dread numbers right now, and they need to say to themselves, "Yeah, that was a Lego set. We need to bring it out for Christmas."
I mean,
No,
come on. It's currently the best-selling game in the UK in terms of Metroid games. It's the best-selling Metroid game in Japan, which by the way, Japan does not like Metroid. I'll let you know that. And
yeah.
yet they're selling almost 100,000 copies, which is wow, that's never been done before.
I would even
And
argue that like Metroid should probably get its own like place at Super Nintendo World, alongside Donkey Kong.
oh
Like,
my
it's all right,
God, you know what? I'll be like, screw you, COVID. I am going to go to Japan if they are going to announce they're going to be having a Metroid World
oh,
right
babe, it's
alongside
not
with
worth
Mario.
it.
Okay, fine. Okay, you're right. It's not worth it. But oh my God, if they were to announce it, I just wish that there was like a portal that I could go to so I can go there.
Yeah. So, but we're not getting them, and but just because they've rejected it doesn't mean like somewhere down the line women they might not look at it again. So who knows?
That's possibly true. Yeah. I mean, they could always pitch it again.
Who knows? We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Okay. Moving on. So, the Loud House Christmas special trailer is now out, and I said from the very beginning when this was first announced as a live action show, I was kind of like, the Loud House is supposed to be a cartoonish kind of like very zany show that involves like a lot of animation and involves a lot of physical comedy. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
if they did a live action version of this, it would have to be very narrative driven. And I mean, it looks like they are still going to go with the spirit of the show, but I don't know. Like, it seems that there is a bit of narrative involved in this one from
It
the
looks
looks of
pretty
it.
interesting. I mean, I've seen, the comparisons between the animated version and the live action version as they cut back to back, and it looks pretty solid. I mean, definitely a lot better than some of the other, animated live action movies that I've seen, like, like Ben 10 or, with any of those other ones, in which is like, yeah, it tries to follow like the show, but their budget sucked, so they couldn't exactly do it very well.
Well, I don't know, like with the Loud House. I mean, like all you basically, I think the budget was going to like hiring all the actors and actresses. I think.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean,
And
it's,
like,
I mean, it's a
it's still
Christmas
it's still in
special.
the house. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I mean, it looks like to me like they are going to like go to like other venues and most of it because it looks like it's going to be like massive Christmas shopping spree from what I can see.
Yeah,
From what
I
I can
mean,
see. So
according to what it's according to what the trailer says. Yeah, I mean the synopsis, the plot synopsis from the trailer. The feature-length movie will focus on Lincoln and his best friend Clyde's attempt to ensure that the entire Loud family spend Christmas Day together, as they realize that Lincoln's 10 sisters all have plans to celebrate the holidays separately. So that is what the plot is. And, it sounds just about what you would expect for an episode of The Loud House. And I think that if they're able to play it right, I'm sure that it'll be, pretty good. I mean, I don't remember the last time in which, Nickelodeon had a live action version based off of their animated stuff other than Fairly Odd Parents, which sucked.
yeah, I mind you. I think. I think for some Loud House fans, I think Lincoln Loud himself, I think he's going to take a bit of a backseat because everyone likes Luna and Sam as a
Of
couple.
course, I mean, they
Yeah.
all love the sisters. I mean, that's kind of like the thing. It's like, Lincoln may be the main character, but it's the sisters that we all love.
Yeah. So, I mean, looking at the trailer, I mean, it looks like to me like it is. This is the thing. Like, I think when they do a Christmas special, obviously it's going to be like about family love, and it's going to be the slow moments as well. It's going to be like it's those are and also it's going to be the storytelling. I think that drives a live action show. I think if they just kind of like say, oh well, let's just pull some of the cartoonish elements out and let's do it in live action, it's not going to work. I think it's I think they're going to have some difficulty. I think translating that from the show to the live action, and even if they do play some stuff for laughs and like do some like CGI and stuff like that, I don't know. I think it's just going to be like I don't think it's going to be all that good. I don't think,
Mm.
but
Just focus on the story. I mean,
exactly, yeah,
yeah, just focus on that. If you are going to focus on the dynamics of the sisters, make it seem believable, but at the same time keep to the spirit of the show. But yeah, definitely focus on the core of the message. It's like it's a Christmas special. Do something that would definitely fit within the Loud House, and I think that it'll succeed if it does.
yeah. So, I mean, looking at the trailer, I mean, I'll give it a passing mark. I think at this point, I think we'll definitely say, let's see where we go from here in regards to the Owl House. And I do believe my girlfriend has just disappeared off the screen. But in regards to where we go with the actual special itself. I will give it a chance. I think there's nothing in the trailer I would say that I looked at and said, oh, I hate this, and I hate that.
No, not me.
Like,
Neither did I.
it's not one of those trailers. Thankfully, it's like it's a trailer where it's like, yeah, there is something here, but at the same time, it does give me a little bit of concern, So yeah.
Well, and also I want to point out one more thing right before we move on to our next topic. But this has nothing to do with the Loud House, but it does have something to do with its spin-off series, the Casa Grandes. It recently won an award at the Imogen Awards. If you remember a while ago, the Imogen Awards is a special award ceremony highlighting Hispanic actors, actresses, and TV shows and movies that star, produce, or were directed by Hispanics. And the Loud House spin-off series, the Casa Grandes, won that for
Would
best animated series.
Yeah. It's like, oh hey, wait, Nickelodeon, we're running another award. Oh hey, SpongeBob SquarePants. No, it's the Casa Grandes. It's like SpongeBob SquarePants. It's like no, that's Casa Grandes. Oh, SpongeBob. No. It's like, there you, Nickelodeon, you have a show that's just won an award. It's called La Casa Grandes, and it's not SpongeBob. Maybe you might want to focus on it, and just put part of the sponge back in the sea just for a while, please. Oh. It just annoys me a little bit when, you see, and we know the Casa Grandes is a great show, and it's a great spin-off from the Loud House. It's like, okay, it's a spin-off show, but it's got a purpose. It serves, a purpose in the Nickelodeon lineup. It is key towards a demographic that, is a very good demographic to go for. Definitely in today. But it infuriates me when Nickelodeon still falls back on the yellow sponge and completely ignores the fact that it's still got great other shows out there that it can concentrate on, and say, okay, well, if we continue expanding out the Loud House and maybe getting some new blood into the lineup and expanding out all these other shows, and maybe utilizing TMNT a little bit better, we would have a star-studded lineup, and we would have something that would compete with Disney and have something that competes with Cartoon Network. Right now Nickelodeon doesn't have that.
Sadly, no. I mean, that's the problem. Is that
it's the SpongeBob SquarePants network.
Remember, we looked at this a few weeks ago where we were taking a look at the schedule, and it's chock full of SpongeBob. That's pretty much it. I mean, most of it was SpongeBob, and we were just overwhelmed with it. And the fact that hey, we
Disney, right? Came up to Paramount and said, okay, we're going to buy you for $200 trillion or something like that. And they said, okay, and then they turned around to everyone at the studio and say, okay, the only reason we bought you is because we now have access to the SpongeBob SquarePants library. Everyone else can go. It wouldn't surprise me if Disney decided to do that at one point and say we're just going to cut off all the we're going to trim off the fat, and we're going to keep SpongeBob, and we're going to have that on Disney Plus.
That's the same thing that they did for Blue Sky, in which hey, you're going to cut off everything else, and then we're just going to focus on Ice Age. Oh my God, that would sound so horrible.
I know. It's well, mind you, they got that Will Smith movie came out. So
I mean, that is true, but I'm just saying for future projects, I mean, that's going to be under Blue Sky name. They're doing the Scratch special, and they're doing the one on, one of the other characters as well. So, they're still going to be doing that in regards to Blue Sky property.
Yeah.
But as for anything else, hey, are we going to do a Peanut special? No. Are we going to do another Rio movie? No. It's here it is. This is what we're going to be doing.
I'll be honest with you. I was never invested in Rio. So Rio, it doesn't mean too much to me. But yeah, I do agree. The idea that, you just bought Blue Sky Studios, you just basically just do what Blue Sky Studios do, which is just make Ice Age movies. And quite frankly, why? The Ice Age, where else could they go with the Ice Age story unless they reboot the property? I
know that Chris Meledandri, when he was doing an interview with somebody a few years ago, saying if he had the opportunity to do just one more Ice Age story, then it would have been very similar to the first movie, in which we now see the baby many years later. Now he's the leader of the human gathering group that we saw in the first movie, and he meets up with Manny and his family just one more time. Unfortunately, that's never going to happen.
Yeah,
it's too little, too late, Chris Meledandri.
Yeah, I could imagine Disney saying, "Okay, we're going to do a live-action Ice Age, movie. I heard they're going to bring back, Mammoth soon, so that's going to be possible." And it's oh wait, they not got that far yet. Okay, let's take all the animals that survived the Homeward Bound movies and let's just put tusks on them and things like that. It's just no. Yeah, it's oh, good grief,
Anyway,
I don't see good things coming out of this. I really don't.
All right, but no, seriously. As for Casa Grandes winning for the Imaging Awards, congratulations, super well deserved in my opinion. And I even mentioned about the Imaging Awards because Sarah Nicole Robles was actually nominated for Best Voiceover Actor. Unfortunately, she lost to Justina Machado from One Day at a Time, with which they had an animated special. But no, still nonetheless, congratulations. And as for the Loud House Christmas special, I'm hoping that it will still keep to the spirit of the show, but not try to be like the show. Try to focus on just the story elements and the characters interacting with each other, but just try not to be too close to it, in which it just becomes what's the point of watching it live action when I can just watch it animated? So
it's a Christmas special that's about a family on Christmas. You can work with this. You know, like
Sure.
you don't have to do anything zany with it. You know, just like focus on like this. I mean, if anything, like I mean, I might curse it by saying this, but like look at Home Alone for example, with Macaulay Culkin, and like, and by the way,
Oh,
like
we weren't going to talk about this on the show, but we saw the trailer for the new Home Alone movie.
yeah, Kim Jong Un apparently is going to be goose stepping around the house and
Oh my god.
yeah, I saw the thumbnail for that and I thought, wow, like it's I'm just happy for the North Korean dictator finally getting Disney movie roles.
Oh god, no.
Like yeah, it's just but I just yeah, I just I looked at that Home Alone trailer and said, no, stop it. Like
I mean, I've seen all 5 Home Alone movies many years ago in a podcast.
There's 5.
5. Yes, there's 5.
I've only seen 3 of them.
There's 5 of them.
Wow, I've never seen the other 2. Do I want to see the other 2?
No, please don't. Please don't.
Why am I asking that question? Of course I don't. I mean, it's taken me several years just to get to Gears of War 4 for crying out loud. But like, well, then 4th Home Alone movie.
Yes, there is 5 Home Alone movies. And now I guess this one was gonna, I guess from the looks of it, I mean, it's just a rehash of the original, except that it's taking place in England and it focuses on a British family. And instead of, an American family going to Chicago to Paris, they're now in England and they're going to Tokyo. And you have the whole thing about, him being home alone. And now a whole bunch of burglars are going to be coming in and robbing the house. And it's like, James Rolfe, aka the Angry Video Game Nerd, actually pointed this in one of his videos about how, how can this problem be done in 2020 or 2021, whenever he did this? And it's like, you can call your son on your cell phone. And the problem with the original movie was that the phone lines and the electricity was out and they couldn't reach him. And when they tried calling the police, and like he was scared of it, because of course he would. I mean, what would happen if a police officer came by and try to get to you? And he was afraid of the neighbor next door. So there were reasons on why that would happen. It's like, I don't know if you can do Home Alone in 2021, unless of course if you're able to like really push in the whole, he's really home alone, he's, like if it was like maybe a younger age, like if maybe he was like 5 years old, possibly, I don't know. But even then I see 2-year-olds know how to do cell phones. So it's like, yeah, I don't think Home Alone would work in 2021.
No, it definitely wouldn't. I mean, like, unless they're going to say, like, make this a story of like, oh, hey, this happened in the 90s, like, and
sure, that would have been a great idea.
Exactly, but they're not going to do that because obviously,
they're not.
Yeah, because why that would make sense, Patricia. Why would they do that? But so yeah, we're not excited about the new Home Alone movie by any stretch of the imagination, and yeah, we weren't going to bring that up, but
we weren't going to talk about it, but yeah,
but
isn't
it going to be once again another Disney Plus exclusive? Like they're not releasing it in theaters. What does that tell you? Like, it's the fact that they don't. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like stuff that's appeared exclusively on Disney Plus is because Deadly Plague. But I could probably imagine Home Alone being put on Disney Plus has nothing to do with COVID. I guarantee you that. I think it's more like they looked at this and thought, I don't think this has enough quality to pass the amount of money that we will want to for it to pass in theaters. I don't think.
Well, yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. But for the meanwhile, as for like the topic that we were going to discuss about, so it's not out yet. Maybe we'll talk about it when it does come out. We'll see. But in the meanwhile, it does have promise. I'll just say that.
Yeah. All right, then. So let's talk about our next topic, which is going to be Cartoon Network. So they have an upcoming game show about Harry Potter. And which is a great concept for it, by the way. And, but, me and Patricia talked about this, I'm sure, many years ago that we were going to do a podcast one day where we talk about, the game shows that I grew up with in England and the game shows that she grew up with in America. And we're going to watch each other's game shows and think,
yeah, that's right. We were actually going to do that with Nick and the guys from the Heel Nerds. We weren't all gonna like take turns about like I was gonna watch a bunch of British game shows from the 90s and you were gonna watch a bunch of American game shows from the 90s, and we're gonna compare the two. So
yeah, exactly.
We never got around to that.
Yeah, but unfortunately Scott's gonna become a dad soon, and congratulations by him, by the way. And also Nick is
good for him.
Nick is also busy with him stuff too. So but I mean, like in regards to the whatchamacallit, the
The game show.
the game show itself. So Harry Potter. I mean, first of all, Harry Potter is a great concept for a game show. I think we can all agree on that.
There's a lot of possibilities for it. There's the books, there's the movies, there's the play, there's there's a lot of possibilities with it. There's the theme
all
park
the video
attractions.
games also. There's video games too.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
So I mean, like, also there was a TV show called Nightmare that was broadcast, and it was a cutting edge children's game show where like they would put like a helmet on like one of the contestants, and then they would put them in, like in a room, and it would be all the rest of the members of the team would have like guide him through the dungeon, if you will, and get him towards the end of the maze. So there's these types of shows have existed in the past, and I think are really cool shows as well. There's also Crystal Maze, which I think is also a British favorite as well. Also, we're going to be getting a return of GamesMaster as well. And actually, I tell you what, actually, we were talking about like what we're going to do for my editorial. So maybe I might talk about GamesMaster in our editorial for this one. So
there you go.
Yeah, there we go.
I mean, yeah, which is kind of serendipitous. It's like you're talking about a game show that's coming back. I'm going to be talking about a game show that came back. So there you go.
Yeah, there we go. So in regards to the Harry Potter show, so I mean the game show, so great idea to have a game show. I think there's plenty of possibilities with it, though the person who's going to be hosting it is quite interesting, to say the least, because the person who's going to be hosting the game show is Helen Mirren, who, as far as we're aware, has never made any appearances, unless, and by the way, we're up for being wrong in this. Like, Helen Mirren, as far as we're aware, has had no relation to the Harry Potter franchise in regards to like the movies, the books, the video games, the anything, as far as we're aware, in regards to Helen Mirren. This will be Helen Mirren's first encounter, I think, with Harry Potter. So it is very strange that she was then picked for this Harry Potter game show. Now, don't get me wrong, like, Helen Mirren is a fantastic, choice, I think, for, star power in regards to, like, hey, Helen Mirren, like, famous from, some of her movie roles and like some of the, her appearances in TV shows. I think, she's gonna kill it, I think, as the host for this show. But I mean, the fact that this is gonna be her first encounter with the Harry Potter franchise, it's quite head scratching of how she ended up getting it, really.
Yeah, like, I mean, I understand that Dame Maggie Smith is really, really old and maybe she couldn't do it. And she was Professor McGonagall. So maybe, that's a possibility why she couldn't do it. Emma Thompson could have been a possibility. She was Professor Trelawney. Maybe, Ray Fiennes would have been hilarious if he would have done it. He's Voldemort. So, he would have probably been a hilarious one. Or, maybe like, the actors like maybe Daniel Radcliffe or Rupert Grint or Emma Watson, like, the original trio. That would have been a really interesting one. Or, maybe Harry and Oliver Phillips, the twins who played as Fred and George Weasley. Or I think that any of those would have been a possibility. Or Tom Felton would have been hilarious if he would have been there. He's Draco Malfoy. That would have been a really interesting one. But yeah, Helen Mirren has never been in any of the Harry Potter movies. I don't think she even did any of the the audiobooks. I mean, Stephen Fry is mostly known for doing a lot of the audiobooks. And I know that the actors, when COVID hit, the actors took turns of reading like a chapter every of the original book. So that that would have been a possibility if maybe one of them would have done it. But yeah, I love Helen Mirren. I think she would do a fantastic job. But yeah, she's never been in any of the Harry Potter stuff. I mean, I don't even think she was even any of the Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them movies. I mean, I haven't seen. To be fair, I haven't seen the second movie.
I mean, I'm just looking at her top movies of all time. On by the way, but judged by Rotten Tomatoes, by the way. So like, it may not necessarily be reflective of like everybody else, but I mean, like, looking for some of her like by the way, good chance for a top 10, by the way, to fill it up. So here are the top 10 movies that she's appeared in regards to but they don't really go, I would say, anywhere near Harry Potter world, I would say. So her first one is Cal, which is 1984. So she plays an IRA is based on a Bernard McValty novella about an IRA soldier, John Lynch, who is whacked with guilt after carrying out an assassination. So she's appeared in that. Her number 9 is Oh Lucky Man in 1973, which is about second installment of Lady Anderson's epic Mark Travis trilogy, which wouldn't think Harry Potter would probably go on that. Her next appearance in number 8 is State of Play, which is a political thriller.
I've heard
So
about that movie.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Number 7 is A Long Good Friday, 1982, which is where she there's that. Then there's number 6 is The Cook, the Thief, the Wife, and Her Lover in 1989, and then the next one is The Madness of King George, which is number 5.
I've seen that movie actually.
Yeah. Number 4 is Eye in the Sky, which is 2016. And then number 3 is Excalibur, 1981. So that's sort of where she goes near fantasy. So The Legend of King Arthur in that one. And number 2 is Gosford Park, which is where Helen Mirren joins an outstanding ensemble cast, including Richard E. Grant, Dame Maggie Smith, Kristen Scott, and awesomely named Bob Babylon, who also produced. And it was just very 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 funny murder mystery according to that. And her number 1 appearance has been when she played the Queen of England in The Queen. That was an Oscar nominated performance as well. So you look at her top movies and you don't really look at her and say, yeah, Harry Potter. It's sort of don't get me wrong, she's a very talented woman, but in regards to Harry Potter, it's a bizarre choice.
I guess maybe it's like, hey, she's British, Harry Potter's British, let's put her into the game show,
Yeah.
But except I don't think
what's Daniel Radcliffe doing nowadays?
I know that Daniel Radcliffe, he's currently living in, I think he's still living in, like, he goes between like New York, LA, and Britain to do like stage performances and acting in various movies and TV shows. So I know that he does that. And Emma Watson is very similar, even though that she's kind of semi-retired from acting, and she mostly does like organizations for like the equal treatment of women, and she does like writing books. And Rupert Grint had he went into a bit of a hiatus with acting because he was going through like I guess you could say like the classic example of a child actor, they try to get roles, but unfortunately they're particularly typecast as like one particular character. Is like everybody, when they saw him audition, is like, oh, it's Ron Weasley. And so he was having trouble getting acting jobs for years, but just recently now he's starting to get an acting job, and in his TV show, I forget what it's called, but he's doing really well. And just recently he got married and he has a daughter now, so he's doing really well. So yeah, I'm surprised that they didn't call like one of the 3 actors who are crucial to the series to do this. But anyway, let me just read off what the synopsis is. Okay. A 4-part competition event titled Harry Potter Hogwarts Tournament of Houses. It's going to be airing on TBS and Cartoon Network's Acme Night, and it's going to be featuring hundreds of trivia questions and special guest surprises. A description of the show reads, Dame Helen Mirren is hosting the televised affair, which is premiering on November 28th and airs through December 19th. It'll be available to stream on HBO Max. So yeah, it's essentially like you have groups of 3 people who were representing the 4 houses: Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, and Slytherin, and they're just going to be asking various questions about anything Harry Potter related. And it's to celebrate the 20th anniversary of the first Harry Potter movie that came out in theaters.
Yeah, but again, Helen Mirren is quite an odd choice. Like, don't get me wrong, like there's worse choices to have. I think,
I mean, they could have chosen like some random popular, social media person that
or even worse than that. They could have said Mike Myers has done he was Shrek. He could host it. It's like
no,
where's the donkey?
Oh my god!
Oh my god, no.
Okay, but no. So seriously, I'm actually really, really excited about watching this, and I probably will let you know about what my further thoughts of it are, because I mean, I was a huge Harry Potter fan when I was a teenager. I read through all the books. I've seen all the movies. I did a podcast of it a few years ago with my friend Kyle Nordy. So if you're interested in checking out my thoughts of both the books and the movies, go listen to the podcast.
Cool. All right then. So I'm sure we talked about this in the past, but former Disney CEO Bob Iger warned that Disney executives and current CEO.
No, we talked about that one last week.
Yeah, we did talk about that last week. I don't know. Do we have any further thoughts on it, really? Because it's kind of weird. I kind of brought it up again.
I don't think so. I think that I think that's just like I think what the thing that I wanted to bring up last time that we didn't talk about before was that there was like new management that was being brought into Disney in terms of like not only the theme park division but also with Disney Channel. So there is new blood in the limelight, and we talked about this before with like the Owl House and the one executive who thought it was like off brand or something. They're no longer there, and so there's not like new people there. I think that maybe there's a possibility that maybe there will be some people who are saying, hey, let's be able to take some risks and take some chances. So if there is new blood in Disney who are, as I said earlier, like, even the cast members are huge fans of the Owl House, according to that one person on Twitter who wore an Owl House shirt. It's like, hey, you know what? Maybe there's a possibility that there will be, some changes, maybe even some positive changes. So if Bob Chapek can be able to, not rely on the numbers as opposed to like what people really want and, taking risks and doing things that are outside the demographic, then I think that Disney will be okay. But yeah, that's all I have to say in terms of like updates.
Well, that's one good bit of a news actually that's come out of that. Like, if there's new people like now deciding like, what should happen in the parks, over at Disneyland and Disney World, and also maybe anything like that. Like maybe they might turn around and say, you know what, like let's look. I mean, we've maybe been relying on our our main movie properties to like garnish the park and also the Muppets. Like what if instead we also focus like on our TV shows as well? Like, say now cast members start turning up, maybe like, Amphibia, like, where you have like, Anne Boonchoy walking around and you have like, Sprig and, like, Pop and things like that. Like,
you know what? That would be really awesome because other than Phineas and Ferb, Disney Channel animated series never really got much of a highlight in recent years in terms of like theme park attractions. I mean, Alex Hirsch was devastated when he wanted to pitch like a section of Disney World or Disneyland with Gravity Falls, and they said no.
Yeah, I don't think they'll be saying no now. I think like
no.
Yeah, like look how popular these shows are getting, and look how much
I mean they're like trending on Disney Plus.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, like it's I mean as far as I'm aware, like I mean is Raya the Last Dragon got any type of note in Disney parks yet? As far as
not yet. It's still fairly new. Usually when it comes to like introductions of like new characters, it takes a few years. The last time that we were there, Aaron, they didn't even incorporate Moana yet.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I think as far as I'm aware, I think they've stopped doing like stuff for the Disney Royal Court now. So I think they're still like doing like inductions and things like that, as far as I'm aware. So like
yeah, possibly
because the last one was Merida. And
yeah, that's right. It was Merida. Yeah,
that was years ago now. Like how long?
That
ago
was years ago. Yes, and yeah. So the fact that they just recently put Moana in like the meeting up with like the Disney princesses and stuff like that. So Raya, the meet and greets. Yeah. So Raya's is still too early. So we're probably not going to see her at least for another few years.
I'll be so disappointed if they update Mulan to like the the live action ones.
Oh
like,
no!
Yeah, I don't want them to do that. Like, I can see it coming though, and mind you, I think Gaston was pretty absent when we were last at Disney World. I think you're
that's true. Like usually when we went over to the Beauty and the Beast section, we saw Belle and we saw Beast, but I didn't see Gaston. You're right.
Yeah, we saw Merida there as well, which is kind of strange.
I mean, yeah, we did see Merida there. That was very true, and we saw the other classic Disney princesses, but I mean, I think that.
I got to have a laugh and joke with Princess Anna and Queen Elsa as well.
That's right. I remember that you were waiting in line for a friend to like record yourself. With Anna.
Yeah. He really liked. He really liked that, by the way. So that was really cool for
That's
him.
awesome.
Yeah. So, but in regards to the way Disney direction is going to go, I mean, obviously it shouldn't be driven by data, obviously not. But I think they should really test the waters. I think with some of their newer properties. I think at Disney parks and just say, okay, will these work? And if they do, then great. And if not, then no. I think
Exactly. Yeah.
but mind you, like, I don't know, like, it makes me wonder if properties is really something that Disney should be focusing on right now. Like, there's this thing, this whole thing that, and also a certain person who I was keeping tabs on social media was bringing this up to as well. Like, she recently went to Disney World, and apparently the cast members are not as happy as they were before, pre-pandemic. I think a lot of them now are fed up. I think
Oh
the way things are
no.
going, which can you blame them? I mean, like, we've heard all the stories that happened at Disney. Well, yeah, Bernie Sanders made a massive song and dance about it as well.
I
Like, not
remember.
not
Yeah.
literally, like, like he didn't actually go to Disney World and actually like singing and dancing, like, that would be something that would happen at Disney World. Bernie Sanders
Sure.
going around
Sure.
singing and dancing about how workers are underpaid at Disney World, but I think. Disney, I think, need to pay attention to that because, if their workers aren't happy, like, look what we're having right now with these strikes that are currently going on across the
Oh yeah,
country.
that's right. I think that what was it? The IASTE were thinking about going on strike because the film and television workers are being worked to death
Well,
and
that's been
having all.
averted. That's been averted now. Apparently, that's now.
Okay,
I mean,
okay,
so,
okay. So
but
they
that,
were, but they were really close on going on strike. By the
yeah,
way.
but that's that's not the beginning of the end. I mean, like,
Oh,
right now,
absolutely
I
not.
mean, like, who knows where we'll be with Disney? I mean, like, I really hope this isn't going to happen, but like, maybe one day we might end up turning up at Disney World and find out that there's a picket line outside.
Oh
Like,
man.
exactly, yeah. It's like, it's you know, getting the well, you have to dress up the office manager into, like, a into a suit and get him to play genie or whatever. Like, that's going to be sad. Like, yeah.
Anyway, but still, I mean, I guess, yeah, not really much in terms of an update, but just reiterating that Bob Chapek, do not rely on the numbers, rely on taking risks, because otherwise, as what Bob Iger warned, we wouldn't be able to get films like Coco, Black Panther, or Shang-Chi. So there you go.
Yeah. So, I mean, the end of the, I mean, mind you, Pixar, I think, regardless, let's say, for example, Disney are going to go, like, a data-driven direction. I don't think Pixar would not pick up that
Oh,
habit. I don't think.
absolutely not. No
No,
way.
because, like, they've already, look at all the shorts they're bringing out right now. Like,
Yes.
they're growing their new talent. Like, that's what they do. They grow their new talent with shorts, and then they pick the people who they think are gonna make them a lot of money, and they give them movies to work with. And
Yeah, and also another thing that I've been noticing on their social media is that they highlight a lot of their people who are of certain representation and certain diversities and who have certain conditions. Like they did it for the LGBTQ community of animators and artists and people who worked on the shorts and the films. I mean, they highlighted them. They also highlighted the Hispanics for Hispanic Heritage Month, and not too long ago they highlighted a person who did the lighting for movies like Luca, and he was born with having difficulties to walk, and now he's in a wheelchair. So yeah, they do highlight those people, and I think that because all these people come from different backgrounds, they're able to tell different stories that you wouldn't see ordinarily.
yeah, exactly. But so, just because they're from different backgrounds doesn't necessarily mean that they're picking anybody. Like, these guys that are there right now, they're the cream of the crop.
Oh
Like,
yes.
yeah, exactly. Like, Pixar will still demand very, very, very high standards. I
Oh,
think, for them,
absolutely,
for them to
yes.
go there. So just because you see a lot more, like, of diversity doesn't necessarily mean that they haven't crawled and scraped their way to the top.
Oh,
Like, yeah.
absolutely not. I mean, they had to work really hard in order for them to get themselves where they are now.
Exactly. You don't go to Pixar by accident.
Oh, no way, no way.
Yeah. So, like, so okay, so I think that we kind of talked that out, I think, for a second time. So I think let's move on.
Yeah,
to
let's just
the
move
next
on.
thing. So there was a test screening that was released on YouTube, and it was a test screening for a biopic for Robin Williams, and
Yes.
this has taken off massively. As far as I'm aware, like, I think it's like 7 million views. I think at the moment. I think
The last time that I saw, yeah.
Yeah, so, like, this is garnering a lot of attention, and so we'll set the scene. So basically, he's in his trailer for saying what role was he actually doing for that? I think I can't remember what it was.
I think it was like Mork and Mindy. I think
it was, yeah. So he's getting ready for that, and then this I do apologize, everybody. Like, who's the name of the woman who walks in to try and snap Robin out of it to tell them the news. Jim Belushi has passed away.
Oh yeah, yeah. I forget. It's been a while since I've. Yeah,
But
I
you know,
forget.
yeah.
It's
So
been a while since I've
she
seen that.
has to snap him out of like the what he's in at the minute, and to kind of like take him out of his whimsicalness, and so then sets him down and says, "Look, John Belushi died last night, and Robin is just massively upset and says like
I remember. Pam Dauber.
Pound Dobby, yeah. So the girl playing her, does that, and so you see, Robin Williams is going through the motions, and he has to basically psych himself back up again, and like the whole way that it's done, it's definitely 100% Robin Williams. The way that
Yeah.
he's portrayed it, and so, and I always like the way like he just picks himself right back up again, and and then all of a sudden it's like, oh shit, I've missed my costume, and that's he has to run out, and the way that it ends, and from start to finish, I really enjoyed it, and mind you though, like I mean, I don't know, like I would find a Robin Williams biopic, I think a bit, me personally, I would find a bit hard to watch because like Robin Williams is one of those actors who we grew up with, and he was part of our childhoods. He was the genie in Aladdin, for crying out loud. He
Yep.
was Mrs. Doubtfire, and he was Patch Adams, and he was various other we try to forget 1 hour photo, but there was various
Yeah, I mean, he did a lot of movies that were both leaning more towards like adults and for children. 1 Hour Photo, Death to Smoochie. There was also a lot of interesting ones like Bicentennial Man and
oh my god, Bicentennial Man was like on TV every single day. Like,
oh jeez,
that was done. That was played to death.
oh
But
my God.
I mean, so Robin Williams has been in our TVs and been on our movie theaters for decades.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
also,
he was also known for stand up, and
mhm.
he's also known for like Mork and Mindy, which was that was like one of his earlier roles, right? When he was like doing stand up, and then he was in Mork and Mindy, which was one of the spin-offs of Happy Days that was like where he like playing like this like weird little alien who was just trying to like interact with society. So kind of like Alf in a way, except like with humans, of course. But yeah,
Yeah,
I
and
think that
also we got in the radio and said, "Good morning, Vietnam."
yeah, there was
So
Good Morning Vietnam, and yeah, he was in various other ones like Goodwill Hunting is another one of his famous ones. Dead Poet Society. So yeah, I mean, The Fisher King is another one that a lot of people really enjoyed. So yeah, I think that when it comes to like that in terms of all the movies that we remember him from, I mean, we and the fact that he passed away like almost 10 years ago, and for some people it still hurts. It still is very very devastating that somebody that we grew to love and appreciate has since gone away. And
yeah,
even though that
but I just
everybody
think the way that a biopic I think will play out with Robin Williams is like he's a very whimsical, very warm, very loving guy, but then you kind of like see in the back like not everything's right at home.
Yeah,
So
it's kind of like the story about Pagliacci, the clown. It's like one day a man comes by, sees a doctor saying that he's really really depressed, and then he tells him, well, guess what, tonight Pagliacci the clown is going to be performing, and he's a very funny clown, and he makes everybody laugh, and you should go see him. And then the guy says, but sir, I am Pagliacci. So it's
mm,
like, what do you do when you are seen as one of the funniest men in the world and you yourself are depressed?
yeah, exactly. So I mean, documentaries I can obviously do because obviously you're seeing it from other people's perspective, of like what Robin Williams is like and everything like that. Like interesting, like if they with a biopic though, I just think that I don't know, I'd find it some bits of it kind of difficult to kind of swallow a little bit, even if it does get a bit deep, just because it's someone I've appreciated, in regards to his art and everything like that that he's done. So, but one thing I'd be interested in if they do go with it, like I wonder if they'll cover his time, like the USO show. Like he's,
Ooh.
that's the thing. Like there's one bit where he's like, he actually pauses for retreat. Like when they take down the flag, and there's actually a YouTube a video of him doing that, and he wasn't too sure about what to do, but so he removed his hat out of respect anyway while they played Reveille, and they did the whole thing. So
Wow.
it's like, yeah, it's like, it's funny that he goes right back into his act right after that. It's like, oh, what was that, by the way? And someone says, oh, it's retreat. It's like, oh, retreat. Okay, we got to get out of here. Back to shit. Let's get out of here. It's like, he's hilarious. But, Robin Williams had a lot of love to give, and so if the biopic portrays that I think, in a good light, then I think that will be a good thing. However, not everybody is a fan. And I think
No.
that's another bit that we need to talk about. Zelda Williams, who is the daughter of Robin Williams, by the way, named after the Legend of Zelda.
Yes, because I guess that a lot of people already know this, but for those who don't, Robin was a huge fan of video games,
Yeah.
and he named Zelda after Zelda Williams. He named his son Cody after the what you call it, the Final Fight games. That's what it was. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
for Capcom, the beat 'em up game. So yeah, he's a huge fan of video games.
Yeah. So
And by the way, one of my favorite video game commercials of all time, still to this day, is the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time 3D, where he's describing about, there's a magical world. And then, he is describing the Legend of Zelda. And then, Zelda calls to him and is like, "Are you talking about me or are you talking about the game?" And he says, "Well, I don't know. You're both magical." It's like, oh my God, yes, I love it.
I tell you, I mean, that's interesting, actually. How did, I mean, there's not very many, unless I'm about to make a huge mistake, a huge mistake in comment. I don't think there was very many celebrities in Nintendo commercials.
I mean, I know that Beyonce did one for, the DS in terms of like one of the little touch 'em games.
I've never seen it.
Okay. There were a few celebrities who did like endorse DS games and Wii games, but you don't see a lot of that anymore, to be quite honest. And
No.
I think that's kind of a good thing. It's like, hey, focus on the people who play the games,
Yeah, exactly. So like, mind you, like, I mean, Nintendo doesn't really need celebrity endorsements anyway. Like, Miyamoto himself is a celebrity. So
yeah, there you go.
Everyone knows who he is. So yeah. But I mean, going back to the story about Zelda Williams, she's been asking people not to share it on social media for like, she's already. I can probably imagine she's already seen it so many times, and like, it's not something she's very happy about. So.
Yes. In fact, I'm just going to read off what she said. So she posted on social media, "Guys, I'm only saying this because I don't think it'll stop until I acknowledge it. Please stop sending me the test footage. Jamie is super talented. This isn't against him, but y'all spamming me an impression of my late dad is one of on one of his saddest days is weird." Yeah, because I think that the time that they were posting this to Zelda was on the anniversary on when he died.
Yeah, like, let it go, guys. Like, just it's she doesn't need this right now, and this is a time to kind of like remember, and also this in itself should be kind of like our story maybe was to begin with. The fact that we're going for another anniversary of when we no longer have Robin Williams in our lives. So I think so like let's all celebrate the life of Robin Williams and that, but we don't need to know that there's a portrayal of him at the moment, and Zelda does definitely need to know that too. So like
like come on, guys, just
yeah.
I mean, I get your intentions. But still, it must be very hurtful for her. I mean, her and Robin were really, really close. So the fact that people are sending like this guy's impression of the dad, which is for the most part spot on. I mean, it must be like really awkward and weird.
Yeah, I mean, like it's kind of like people say it's taking hey I've been on the Ancestry website and there's a animated picture of your granddad on the day that he died like not on the actual day he died like on the anniversary that he died. Like, someone said that to me and showed that to me, be kind of like that'd be kind of weird. Like, like there's a AI portrayal of like, my deceased grandfather. Like, I would not really, take too well to that, I don't think.
Oh, man, no.
But that's just me. Right. Okay. So anyway, we'll move away from that and we'll focus on someone who sadly has passed away. Ruthie Thompson, who is Disney's oldest animator, is
that's incredible. By the way, the fact that she was able to live for the age of 111.
Yeah,
that's insane.
We originally looked at this story. We thought, oh wow, she's still been animating all this time, but no, she has retired a long while back. Apparently,
yeah, she retired very roughly around the same time as the 9 Old Men retired. When she was working, she did a lot of like scene plannings and she did ink and paint for a lot of the classic Disney films from Snow White all the way to The Rescuers. So she was working in Disney for 40 years. And as time went on, she did other things too until she retired. I think she worked on Ralph Bakshi's movies, The Lord of the Rings, and she worked on a Japanese anthology film called Metamorphosis. But after that, she retired, and then for a while, she worked in house at the MPTF, which is the Motion Picture and Television Fund Country House, and she became a Disney legend for all the work that she did. And yeah, just recently she passed away, and just she left a long legacy, by the way,
Yeah.
because you hear about stories about like women in animation, and she was one of them. I mean, she worked with Disney from the very beginning.
And I just think that with people like that, they're legendary in our business. Like well, we say our business, but in Disney's business, I have to say. And it's one thing. And also, she was very dedicated as well, because obviously she worked there for such a long time, and she's had her mark on so many Disney properties that we all admire to this day.
Yeah.
So like I don't think you can go through a classic Disney film, I think, without her obviously appearing in the credits. So I think
Yeah, I mean, she's worked on all of the Disney films from the 40s, 50s, 60s, and even to the late 70s. So, yeah, she worked in all of those films. And then obviously when, she retired, that was when, as you guys know, that was when the part of the dark era started, where, half of the people who were working there at the time were some of the nine old men, and some of them were brand new people in the animation industry that we would now know today as legends, like Glenn Keane and Don Bluth and Tim Burton and Richard Rich and various others. And so then it was Black Cauldron. That was when the new generation of animators took over, because all the people had retired or they've since passed away. So yeah, Ruthie Thompson, alongside with even the nine old men, was able to craft some of the, quintessential Disney classics that we would all know today. And the fact that, she was the oldest Disney animator. Everybody had you worked on these films, they died decades ago. And so the fact that she was able to continue living strong is just astonishing.
Yeah. So, we pay our respects to Ruthie Thompson, someone who has played a pivotal role, I think, in our Disney memories, and
Yeah,
we are condolences to her friends, her family, and her fans.
absolutely.
So,
Yes.
okay. I'm going to let you take the lead on this one. So, your thoughts on the Legends of Hidden Temple episode on the CW network?
Okay, so I guess I want to give a refresher to those who don't know about Legends of the Hidden Temple. So, Legends of the Hidden Temple was a Nickelodeon game show that aired around 1993, and it lasted for 3 seasons and ended in 1996. So, the original host was Kirk Fogg, and D. Bradley Baker, who you probably know for voicing like a ton of like creatures and animals, and even various characters such as Klaus from American Dad, and Rex and the troops from Star Wars, The Clone Wars, and Appa and Momo from Avatar: The Last Airbender, and various others. That was his very first voiceover role. He was the talking rock god known as Olmec, and he would be the one telling the legend. So there were 6 teams in the Legends of the Hidden Temple game. There were the Red Jaguars, Blue Barracudas, Green Monkeys, Orange Iguanas, Silver Snakes, and Purple Parrots. So the point of the game is that there would be a legend that would be told, and the kids would have to find an artifact that would be connected to said legend, and it would be inside of Olmec's temple. Olmec's temple is divided into 15 different rooms, and they would have to go through the rooms in order for them to retrieve the artifact and then return it before time ran out, and they became able to win a series of prizes. Now, because there are 6 teams, only one of them can be able to go in. So the first challenge is always a moat. Second challenge is the Steps of Knowledge. And then the third and fourth challenges are the Temple Games. And in the Temple Games, you would have 2 teams left. And the 2 teams would have to play against each other so that they can be able to receive Pendants of Life, where they can be able to go inside into the temple without being captured by temple guards. So the whole point of Legends of the Hidden Temple was that, and it was Nickelodeon's attempt of trying to write off of the slew of other game shows that were coming out around the 90s. You had Wild and Crazy Kids, Get the Picture, you had Nick Arcade, and Double Dare was still going on with Family Double Dare. So it was definitely one of Nickelodeon's most memorable game shows. There was the movie that came out of it, and if you remember, from 2015 or 2016, I think it was. That was like the first Nickelodeon TV movie that came out where it was like riding on the success of like, hey, let's bring back these old properties from the 90s and make them into movies. And so Legends of the Hidden Temple was first, and then we got Hail of the Jungle movie, Static Cling, Enter the Florpus. We got the Are You Afraid of the Dark mini series, and then a second season. So it was the one that kickstarted it, but it was sadly the one that nobody really remembered. So cut to a few years later when there was talks about that we were going to get a Legends of the Hidden Temple series, but it was going to be specifically for adults, and it was going to be coming out on Quibi. But because Quibi flopped, then it was moved over to the CW. And so the first episode is out. If you are interested in checking it out, please do so on the CW website. You can watch it for free. So I saw the first episode, and there were a lot of changes that they were put into the show. Instead of 6 teams, there are 4. So Red Jaguars, Blueberry Cudas, purple parrots, and green monkeys. So orange iguanas and silver snakes were not in the game, which I know a lot of people were disappointed because silver snakes is like one of the fan favorite teams every time that a kid would be, teamed up with them. Anyway, so they started off with the moat, and you started off pretty early with the legends. Like Olmec starts telling the legend right away, and usually he would save the legend for the steps of knowledge. But no, over time in the CW series, the legends will be told bit by bit with new additions to the story. And so with the moat game, you have a lot of eccentricities with like different things. Usually with like the moat games, you just like go back and forth, or you grab something and then you go back. But in this one, it's almost plays like Survivor, in which like they had to hit something and then they had to swim by and grab something and they had to spell out a word and all that kind of stuff, and then they had to hit the gong. And so just like before, you actually have to like whittle down the teams until you have 2 steps of knowledge. You have to really pay attention to this one because there was a lot of stuff that was told in the beginning and in the steps of knowledge, and there was a lot of stories in it. Now the story presentation in the original was done with like live action people, and it was done with like crude drawings because they didn't really have a lot of budget. But in this one, they had like comic strips, and they were actually like coming into motion, which shows that the show actually had a pretty substantial budget for this. So it was actually able to showcase the legend itself. And for the most part, a lot of the legends in the original series were made up, but in this one, they actually did try to do proper research and tell like actual legends that would be shown in like Incan or Mayan mythologies. And I'm sure that there will be more in the future once more episodes come out. Anyway, so the steps of knowledge does play more or less the same with like 2 teams. Temple Games more or less plays the same in 2 teams, except that there's a difference. You see, in the old series, they would get half pendants, and then in round 3, they would get a full pendant. So sometimes there'll be cases in which they only get a half pendant, and you actually had to look around in the temple to see if you can find the half pendant, because if you got a half pendant, you were entering into the temple, you will be captured by a temple guard. But in this one, they actually give you full pendants. So, and every time that there was a tiebreaker, they actually gave you a full pendant. So it's almost going to be a guarantee that you will have at least 2 pendants, which, may seem kind of like cheap. But first of all, the temple run is very difficult because it's taking place outside. And also, it's it's fact that they're adults. It's like, it's going to be a little bit more hard to like crawl around and climb things and all that kind of stuff. And they're actually given more time. In the old show, it was 3 minutes. This time around, it's 4 minutes. And so they were actually able to bring back some rooms from the old show. They brought back the Pit of Despair. They brought back the Shrine of the Silver Monkey, because of course. And they were able to bring in some new rooms as well, which actually does play really well into what you would see in Legends of the Hidden Temple. And so they actually had a new host in there. I'm still kind of warming up to her. I don't remember what her name was, but I take it that they didn't want to get Kirk Fogg because it's kind of like with like hey, we need to get a fresh new person in here. But at least with the reboot of Double Dare, they were able to bring back Mark Summers as a co-host. So I would have liked to have seen Kirk Fogg as a co-host or something. But anyway, yeah, I think that she's definitely one that I need to get used to. But D. Bradley Baker is back as Olmec, and he's just as fantastic as ever. And overall, I liked it. I thought it was a really nice attempt of trying to bring Legends of the Hidden Temple for adults, and they were able to make some smart changes, and I like the presentation. So yeah, I thought it was good. And as for like what I would like to see changed up in the future, I would like to see Kirk Fogg back in a few, maybe like a cameo or something, and maybe like, some tweaks here and there in terms of like some parts of the prizes and stuff like that. But overall, seriously, job well done. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's really cool. So yeah, Legend of the Hidden Temple on CW. So yeah, I guess we'll be urging everyone to check it out.
Yes,
So,
please do so.
cool.
It was a big surprise for me personally.
Yeah. Okay, everybody. Now, I had this segment of the show labeled Aaron's Editorial, and I came to the beginning of the show. No joke here. Like, I was like, eep, I've not thought of anything. But then I realized that me and Patricia had actually talked about something, before, obviously, we had a cancellation of an episode, and that was the return of a cult TV show known as GamesMaster. Now, some of you in America will be like, what on earth is GamesMaster? So, GamesMaster was a computer video game, magazine show, and it also featured a challenge game that appeared, people fighting in tournaments and things like that as well. It ran for 7 seasons and had 126 episodes, so like it was a successful show. So the origins of it is that there was the games began with Jane Hewland, who was formerly of LWT, which was a ITV affiliate, and was also interested in her son's love of video games. So she put together this idea of having a video game show, which had a couple of rejections, but was picked up by Channel 4 at the time. Was basically Channel 4 was basically going loop to loop, and was like putting some like crazy, innovative shows. That and also GamesMaster was obviously one of them, and it was a ratings hit. It was a huge show. Now it did go through a bit of demise, later on, because obviously the idea of like having a video game show every single year was just was starting to get a bit stale. But they did try to perk it up a little bit and try to make it more adult. It didn't go all that well, but at the same time, it did have some problems backstage. So despite that, the GamesMaster was still a moderate success at the time. Channel 4 went through a new direction. So Michael Jackson who had formerly worked with LWT, but didn't see eye to eye with Jane Hewland at the time, as was not too keen on having the show, and eventually the show was axed, and then eventually it appeared on Challenge TV, which was a satellite TV show, but didn't kind of keep up with it, and eventually kind of like went to a sad demise. So this show is still remembered to this day. Everyone grew up with the show pretty much if you were in the 90s, and now we have had the announcement that on E4, which is the television channel that's aimed at a young audience, they are going to be bringing back GamesMaster, which for a lot of people who grew up with that show is going to be huge. Now, from what we understand, the series will be seeing celebrities, gaming stars, and superfans take part in challenges, races, and epic fights. Through virtual battles across the range of games, the competitors will try everything in their power to claim the legendary Golden Joystick Trophy. And whilst they may play, they'll be watched over by the all-knowing GamesMaster, famously portrayed by the original Sir Patrick Moore. And that has got fans very excited about this. This is the thing about, and by the way, this is actually something I actually want to go into, which is that shows that end too prematurely and actually are successes. I think, a lot of, producers and people behind the scenes really need to think about like the audience that they're trying to go to, and they need to put the backstage politics aside. Yes, I get that. So you want to have people that you really want to work with, and I think every workplace really wants that. But at the same time, like you have to understand what you are producing, to your audience. And GamesMaster was a great show and was still doing pretty well for Channel 4 at the time. But because there was, internal strugglings going on behind the scenes, I just think that's, inexcusable for, a show just disappear off the air and have people asking questions like, what the hell's happened to GamesMaster? And now we know, future down the line, we now know what's happened here. And people now have been, asking for something like this back. And now E4 has stepped in, and now they're going to be bringing this back. But this was unnecessary. And by the way, a lot of stuff that we see is unnecessary in regards to shows just flying off the air with no explanation whatsoever. So as far as I'm concerned, kudos that GamesMaster is going to be making a return. Kudos that Sir Patrick Moore is going to be getting another bash it, being the games master once again. And now, not only have you got a show where just normal average Joes are going to be getting involved, but celebrities, maybe even the esports gamers as well are going to be getting involved. This, try and grab the golden joystick once again. This is going to once again be a big show, and I think Channel 4, I think, will be, having this on air. I think will once again be kicking themselves of like, why didn't they have this back in the first place before they cancelled it in 1998, and then we saw its demise in 2003. Like, just like, here we go again. You're like, oh, hey, old ideas that were popular, all of a sudden coming back. Oh, like, what a concept, yeah. So anyway, I drive myself out by saying all of that. So, but that's my thought. I'm really glad Games Master's coming back, and I'm really looking forward to seeing the show, go back to its former glory. So.
Sounds great. Kind of sounds like Nick Arcade for here in America, where you have kids playing video games and it's like video game tournaments. So again, I'm hoping, even if we don't do it with Nick and Scott, I really want us to do that game show podcast together at some point.
Yeah. So keep an eye out for Games Master because it's on E4 and it's coming back. So
okay.
Yeah. Okay, we got a few more things just to round up on. The first thing is going to be an announcement has been made for a new How to Train Your Dragon series taking place about 1,300 years after the original films took place. So, yeah. My first reaction to this is that I guess this is going to be like How to Train Your Dragon's version of Legend of Korra, I guess. So
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah, but to go 1,300 years into the future. Like, I looked at that and thought, hang on a second, like, my first original reaction was Futurama, but obviously Patricia taught me down from that and saying, well, no, it can't be obviously that. But so we're at this point apparently in the timeline where dragons now have just basically just become like of legend. And so that's where we are at the moment. So I guess in modern conveniences now is probably maybe not given the need for dragons no more, I guess. So so I guess we're going to be going with these new characters on this adventure of finding the dragons again, I guess.
Yeah, and it's actually really interesting because nobody was expecting this announcement, especially since we knew that the How to Train Your Dragon series was over. I mean, we had the 3 movies, we had the 2 animated series, and we had the Christmas special. So it's like, we're done. What's going to be next?
Well, you know what they say, babe. They live happily ever after until we need to make some more cash, and then we'll make the sequel.
6 seasons in a movie.
Yeah.
Anyway, but let me just tell you about the plot synopsis for the new series, which is going to be coming out, according to what this says, on Peacock and Hulu. It is called How to Train Your Dragons: The 9 Realms. So this is what the plot synopsis is. So let me see if I can find it. So yeah, it takes place about 1,300 years after the first movie, and in a contemporary setting, dragons have passed into myth until a huge fissure opens up in the Earth's surface, exposing them to the modern world. It falls upon a group of misfits to discover the truth about the dragons and maintain the secrets of where they've been hiding since the days of Hiccup and Toothless. So yeah, it's going to be focusing on new characters, and it's going to be focusing on, getting a close relationship with a new set of dragons in, modern society. And so that's what it's going to be about. Now, there's no information about like if the main character is going to be like, the descendant of Hiccup and Astrid or anything like that. We don't know anything of that as of right now. So we're just gonna
something like I don't know. It seems to be like, is that a trope that's been kind of done quite to death now? I think in regards to like, oh hey, here's the the long ancestor of like these other characters that we cared about in the original season.
Yeah, it has become like an anime trope at this point. It's like you see that in like Boruto, Naruto Next Generations. You've seen that, in like various other, TV shows and movies. It's like, hey, here is the group of characters you fell in love with. Now cut to like 10, 20 years later, and now here's their children, and this is what their adventure's like. So yeah, it has become a trope in a lot of things recently.
Exactly. Yeah, I just think now let's just focus on some brand new characters.
I think that's what they're doing. And I think that's what they're doing.
So, Yeah, but I mean, I guess maybe we could probably broaden this out a little bit. Like, I mean, is this going to be like a futuristic world? Like, I mean, are we talking about, like, I mean, how far into the future, how futuristic are we going to be looking at? Are we looking at Batman Beyond type of like style, kind of like future, like, or is this just going to be like, oh, hey, it's like, like 2021 where everyone's got like cell phones and everyone's going to like, everyone's gramming their food and, like, doing the, all the Instagrams and things like that. I don't
I
know.
have
But
no idea. It just said that it's taking place 1300 years in the future, but I assume that it's definitely like 2021, our society, that kind of thing.
it'd be kind of
So
cool, like, if they're having like, battles like, with like spaceships and dragons and things like that. Like, it's like it's gonna be like there's gonna be like a guy who like, who was like a marketing executive in the 90s thinking like, why didn't we think of this?
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like kids love dinosaurs and they love astronauts. Let's put them together.
Yeah.
Now in this case, it's like
Like Gilbert Godfrey just then still it's like oh, Gilbert Godfrey, like, he's giving 90s ideas. It's like, maybe we should have, like, put spaceships and dinosaurs together. And then,
you sound like Pee Wee Herman more than Gilbert Gottfried.
Oh, well, okay.
It's more like, here's what we're going to do. We're going to get dragons and we're going to get astronauts and we're gonna put them together because kids love to get them in the Toys R Us or the FAO Schwartz or wherever they buy them in. I don't know because I haven't been shopping for kids for 40 years.
No,
they
good.
prevented me from buying stuff for kids years ago ever since Aladdin. I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Oh man, like, but like, I just think that with this idea, I think I can get on board with it. So I think I think
the fact that they're going in a different direction with this, it's like, you know what? Kudos for that. I mean, at least we're not getting another Boss Baby TV series.
Yeah, well, that's coming soon. I guarantee you after Boss Baby 2.
No, I mean, we already had Boss Baby back in business with the movie, and then
you think they're gonna stop there once the second movie comes out and that some strange reason has like the Emoji Movie effects? I guarantee you that they're gonna want to do another series of Boss Baby.
I wouldn't be surprised. It's like, we already have a Boss Baby series for Netflix focusing on obviously the Boss Baby. And I know the second movie is about Timmy's daughter and then shrinking the Boss Baby back to his original baby form.
What?
So it's like,
I'm so out of the loop right now because I know we haven't done Dream Machine in goodness knows a while. Has the Boss Baby 2 movie actually come out? Like,
yes. Yes, it has.
Wow.
And it's finally out on demand. All of them have been out on demand for quite a while. So it's like, guess what we're gonna do for the holidays?
Actually, hang on a second. Actually, Boss Baby 2 is actually not coming out until October 22nd. So
really, it's been out here months ago.
No, it's still yet to come out here.
Well, sorry everybody who's been wanting for us to talk about stuff on Dream Machine. You're gonna have to wait a little bit longer.
47% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Fine.
Ooh. Like, mind you, it's still got an 89% audience score. Okay,
they really like Boss Baby, apparently.
Well, yeah, okay, whatever. But
anyway, as for Dragons, the Nine Realms, I'm curious to see where they go from there.
Yeah, I'm interested too. So cool. And finally, if you always wanted wacky peripherals for your video game consoles, well, I think, if the KFC, chicken warmer game console isn't going to do you, then maybe this might do you. It's the Xbox Series X mini fridge. So.
Like, okay, I mean, I'm lost here. So Xbox Series X has a mini fridge. I mean, I know that Nintendo was known for their weird peripherals that, for the most part, were either used only once or they didn't work or they were gimmicky, but they've never done a refrigerator, at least as far as I know. So it's like we're going more into like the video game trope. It's like, hey, gamers need their Mountain Dews or their Red Bulls or whatever they drink. So let's just make an official peripheral so that we can be able to put it alongside with them that looks like an Xbox or something.
Yeah, to be honest with you though, like, it's not badly priced actually. It's $99.
Wow, really?
Yeah,
that's actually not that bad considering that I actually wanted to buy a
12 can drinks.
Wow.
Yeah, too bad I can't drink soda no more. But Yeah, it's like also it's got a USB port in the front that allows it to charge the devices whilst the DC power comes for easy portability. Apparently.
Well, that's pretty cool. Yeah. But as for like like that kind of like
Oh, by the
presentation.
way, apparently according to this, the company that was producing the fridge, apparently they had a competition, so they actually asked if people wanted Skittles or Xbox, and apparently Xbox won out just by about by 0.5%.
0.5%?
Yeah, so if it went the other way, we would have got a Skittles fridge instead. So
A Skittles fridge. I don't know. Does Skittles have any like drinks or anything like that? I don't think so. I think they're just known for the
and
candies.
by the way, I would not recommend you ever put Skittles in the fridge. By the way, like in the refrigerator,
Ooh,
because
no.
they get very hard. And let's just say that's how I got my first filling, and then that's how my first filling turned into my crown, and that's how my first crown turned into my root canal. So like, yeah, do not put Skittles in the fridge. That's your life lesson here from the wise old man here of the Arun and Patricia. So
There you go.
yeah.
Anyway, but yes, as for this Xbox fridge, so I mean, okay, I can see the appeal of it. I can understand that, it has like these really cool little features, like you can hold like 10 12 cans of soda, and it has a USB port where you can charge it up, and it looks like a mini Xbox Series X. So okay, I can understand that, sure. But yeah, just I mean, I would think that maybe like other peripherals, that would be coming out for like Xbox would be, something along the lines of like other things. But I guess, hey, you know what? Points for creativity, because Nintendo certainly has never done a fridge before.
Well,
Sony has never done anything like that either.
well, plenty of time, babe. Plenty of time.
I guess that's true.
Yeah. I think that's a good place to round up. So, yeah. So, thanks everybody for checking us out, and I think we'll just be posting clips. I think of us being on video. I guess I think I won't post the entire thing, but yeah, cool. So, all right then. So, thanks everybody for tuning in, and we will be joining you again next week. Hopefully, at the regular time that we normally do this. So, and
Yeah.
hopefully, I'll be continuing this in the studio too. So, because I think this has been rather successful. I think.
Yeah, I've been enjoying it.
Cool. All right, guys. We'll leave it there. So we'll see you next week, and yeah, enjoy the rest of your week. So, bye bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.